Because I remember in Europe, I stole that from who was that guy? No way we are losing that game, guys. We are so much better than them. That's crazy. Everybody is just trolling around, just making jokes in voice chat and stuff. And I'm like, guys, actually, we have a chance to win that one. Should we focus? Just when I was playing during the off season, that was probably the worst time I've ever had playing Overwatch.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to my first episode of a new interview series I'm doing. My first guest is going to be just one of the first people off my Discord friends list, Poko. You guys might know Poko from the Overwatch League. He's been one of the longest serving players in the league alongside Profit, the two big P's they call them. Today, I wanted to talk to Poko because Overwatch League has probably ended, it's probably over, and there's been a lot of talk, potentially a lot of negative talk about things that went wrong, how it should have ended, how it could have gone on longer. But I thought, for a lot of people, myself included, and maybe I think potentially Poko as well, Overwatch League was actually a pretty great experience. So I thought we'd revisit, we'd go through the annals of time, look back at some of the nicer times, some of the happier times, and what better way to do it than through Poko and his journey through the Overwatch League. So welcome, Poko.
Thank you for the invitation, Alex. I'm excited to share everything that I remember of. It's been quite a long journey, so I'm gonna try and focus and remember everything.
Okay, so let's start right at the beginning. So all the way at the start, how do you end up playing Overwatch? How old are you when you start?
I mean, that was like 7 years ago, so I was probably 20s. I played Counter-Strike before, I played League of Legends, and then I don't know how I heard of Overwatch. I mean, probably was like everybody was like probably talking about it because it's like a Blizzard game, and back in the days, Blizzard was like so good at making games. So I was like, oh wait, that looks like a first-person shooter like Counter-Strike, and there's spells, so like League of Legends. So maybe I should give it a try. And I played it, and I loved it. So I stick to it for quite some times now.
How did you get good? Did you just rank up essentially, and then at a certain point you start finding a team or a group of people to play with?
Yeah, I mean, at the beginning, I don't think we even had ranks. I don't know, took them like a few months to add ranks or something. But yeah, just play the game, and then I remember a French guy named Kib messaged me in game and was like, "Wait, do you know I join my team?" I was like, "I mean, sure, why not? I'm not doing anything this weekend, so let's do a little tournament." And then we started doing some ESL Go 4 back in the days. And yeah, we just played as a team every weekend, practiced a little bit. We are not too good, but I mean, that was fun, so I enjoyed it. And then I remember Gamers Origin. They were looking for a new tank, and since they played against me and they were like, oh, wait, he's French, he's not too bad, let's just give him a try. I remember there was Leaf. I don't know if you remember Leaf,
Yeah.
like a very good Doomfist. He spotted me and he gave me a shot. And yeah, I just joined the team and little to little, I just yeah, I just became good, I guess.
Because then, if I go back through the annals of history, I can see some of the first tournaments you start to hit like the French LAN circuit. So I guess France has always been a country that's had a pretty healthy LAN scene for all its games. It was the same in TF2, obviously true in Counter Strike. So you start going to a few of these smaller ones, and you win a bunch of them with Gamers Origin as well. So
Yep.
you
Yeah,
win
yeah.
DreamHack. Do you remember this? DreamHack Tours 2017.
Very fun.
This was bring
Very,
your
very
own
fun.
computer. Did you have
Uh,
to? Did you rent one, or did you actually have bring your own computer all the way down?
I think Gamers Origin just bought our computer. We didn't have to take care of anything, luckily. Otherwise, I don't think I would have done it. It's like too much effort.
Too much effort.
Yeah.
And this team was you, Ben Best, Leaf, Narwak, Hip. and Noki. Some of those names may be more recognizable than others. And
Yeah.
then you stick with these guys for a while. You hit a few more lands. I see you won the Montpellier esports show as well.
Hmm.
And then we get to the point in history where Contenders starts for the first time. So for those people who are too young to remember, the first season of Contenders happened before Overwatch League. So at this point in time, I think Overwatch League has been announced potentially as like there will be a league at some point in the future, but maybe a lot of the details aren't that clear. But this Contenders season, I think, probably had a lot of weight for people in terms of if you do well in this tournament, this is maybe the way to get a ticket to the Overwatch League.
Yeah, for sure. You couldn't miss like the first season of the Contenders. Everybody was like so much tryhard. Everybody was like practicing, because like the European scene was like a little dead. Everybody was like playing for an A, like all these big orgs, Luminosity, Complexity, Rogue, and everything. So they had like a big scene. But in Europe, we are like struggling. So when we had the big opportunity to play for like a Blizzard event, and we knew everybody was like looking at us because the Overwatch League getting announced, we were like, oh my god, we cannot mess this up. It's our time to shine and maybe have a chance to do some trials for like the next big tournament.
Was Gamers Origin ever interested in being one of the teams buying an Overwatch League spot, or was there ever going to be like a direct path for you guys, or were you always going to have to try and just play well and look good for another team?
Yeah, no, no way. I mean, like our investors of Gamers Origin back in the days talk with like Blizzard friends, and they heard the amount of money they had to get to have a spot in the Overwatch League, and they were like, "That there is no way we can afford that. It's like way too much. They are trying to kill the scene." So they got a little mad at the game,
Hmm.
which is understandable because they have invested so much time and money to try to make a good roster, and then they are like, yeah, you cannot go any further. It's just GG. But yeah, I mean, they were such a good organization. They gave us everything we needed, and yeah, they did their best.
What was the setup? So this was your first professional contract with Gamers Origin, then the first time you're getting paid to play.
Yeah, that was. I wasn't sure what I was doing. I never told my parents I signed anything, or
What
I
did your
was still.
parents think you? So you're 20 at this point. What did your parents think you were doing at this time?
They had no idea. I mean, I was still studying, going at the university and
Okay.
stuff, and so I was just playing game on the side. And but yeah, I think they were paying me like 300 euros at the beginning, and then 600. But they were like paying for all the travel at lands and
Hmm.
everything, so that was a pretty good deal. But yeah, my parents didn't knew anything I was doing. They were clueless.
So then the actual tournament itself. So 8 teams enter. Maybe some of the bigger teams people remember is like the Misfits team that went on to become the first Florida Mayhem. Giganti as well, with all the big Finnish players, Fraggy, Zappis, Davin, all of these guys. But you actually end up finishing fifth in this, so just outside the top four and I get to playoffs. So what was the feeling? What were your expectations going in? Did you think you could win this, or you could be in that like top four, or what were you hoping for?
No, I mean we did a little boot camp in Paris before that, I remember. But I don't think our level was like good enough to be able to win it. We just wanted to like do the best that we could, I guess. But we knew that Misfit was a very strong team back in the days, Giganti as well, and we were like, yeah, let's just hope to do maybe top four will be nice. But yeah, no way we could have won this like with our roster and what we did.
So then you end up finishing fifth overall, and
Mm.
then what happens next from there then for you in terms of then Overwatch League's around the corner. Some teams are getting signed directly, like say Misfits, big parts of Envy.
Yeah.
What's it like for you then? How do you then find yourself talking to Philadelphia and that part?
Yeah, I mean that was tough because you hear all this team like making big roster moves, and you're like, wait, can I try to try out or something? Please give me a chance. And I remember Viant back in the days. They contacted me and they were like, "Yeah, we heard you pretty good. You wanna just try out for us, but it's gonna be very early in the morning for you. I think that was like 5 or 4 a.m. and it's gonna be on the West Coast." And I was like, "Oh my God, no way I'm gonna be able to beat this guy." So I didn't show up to the tryout because I was like, I mean, no, thank you," which was so stupid because every opportunity that you have, you should take it.
What's the worst
Um,
that can happen, right?
yeah, I just do bad and so what?
Yeah.
So I didn't go to the Valiant tryout, and then like all the teams were built. Every roster was like finished, and the last roster to were uh, like forming the core was like Philadelphia Fusion, and the GM of Philadelphia Fusion back in the day was like Kirby. He was like the head coach of 1-2-3 in Europe, so I played against him a bunch, and he, I mean, he knew me, so he gave me a shot, and I remember like Fragi was already signed. Who else was already signed? I think Snilo, Carpe, Joe Mester, Shadowburn were like all already signed. So we knew they wanted like 12 people in the roster. So I still had an opportunity, but I was like, no way I'm gonna get signed, right? Because Fragi was like duoing with Zapis. They were like big mates from Gigante. So I'm like, he's gonna just take his mate and it's gonna be over for me. But I think in the end, I was better than him, maybe. So I took his spot, and yeah, I got a little lucky, I think,
Did you
on this
try
one.
out for it then? Like they did like a scrim
Yeah,
and you outperformed him then?
yeah. Because I mean, that was like the last team to do tryouts, so they took like so much time, and they just tried a lot of people, and that was like maybe 2 or 3 weeks of tryout. That was very intensive.
Yeah. Yeah, I think when I look back at a lot of these like old rosters, they're so much more mixed than a lot of the rosters you see now. And especially Philadelphia, you've got a person from every country here.
Yeah. I mean, they wanted to go with like everything, just a bunch of European people, some well known, some not that much, a lot of people from Korea, and just hope for the best. Hope that every countries can share the best out of it, and yeah, just stir it up, and oh, it's good.
So at this point, you're going to LA, you're going to move into the Philly mansion. So at
Yep.
this point, you probably mentioned something to your parents.
Yeah. I mean, I told them, I was like, hey, look, mom, I got a contract, 50K. Yeah, I know it's minimum league, but hey, it's not too bad. I'm getting paid at least. So yeah, I'm going to LA to work for like 1 year. Bye. And they were like, "Are you sure that's not a scam?" I was like, "No, that's real. Trust me."
So then you go out, fresh face. How old are you now? You 20 still?
21,
21?
21. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've never worked, so I didn't really know what to expect. I think that was like the second time that I take a flight on
Oh,
my own.
really? First
Um,
time in
uh,
America?
yeah, of course. Yeah. So there was a lot of like pressure. I even remember I missed my flight
You missed your
because
flight?
yeah, because I took a flight from the south of France to Paris, and then I was supposed to do Paris, Los Angeles, but the first flight was like delayed, and then there was like a big struggle because I ended up buying the first flight on my own, and Fusion paid for the second one, so I couldn't get. I just messy. But Kirby gave me his flight ticket from LA to Paris, and that was a business ticket, so that
Oh.
was very good. I enjoyed it.
So you immediately start getting like this A class lifestyle, then business flights, move into a
Yeah,
mansion.
yeah, that was not too bad. Even though we had a lot of difficulties though at the beginning, because we are like the last team, and we struggled to get our visa
You
for
guys
some
were a bit
reason.
late, weren't you? Compared to you were a bit late to get everyone out there or something. I think, if I remember right.
Yeah, I don't know why. I think somebody who were like doing the visa documentation didn't like us, from what I understood, which is insane. But so one of our I mean, a lot of visa got declined, and when I arrived, I flight on the 31 December.
Oh wow.
I got my visa like the week before, so I arrived on the 1st January, and I think the first match was like 2 weeks after that. It was like on the 16th, so we couldn't practice. There was EQ wasn't there, Snilo wasn't there, a lot of players were not there. That was like such a messy situation.
How is it when you first get there then? So not everyone's there when you arrive, but
Yeah.
there's still probably a good chunk of people there, like staff and some of the players.
Yeah, I remember from the players only Joe Master was there because he was from Canada, so it's like easier for
Easy.
him to get down. And Roston was there, so the GM, and I think a bunch of staff people. Hung was like making content for us, and video editing guy maybe. But yeah, that's about it. And I remember the first night I got there, Roston, which is the GM, still is, um, and me, we did like a beer pong, and I
Yeah.
was like like so tired from the flight, but that's hey, you cannot refuse a beer pong, I guess.
Did you win?
Probably not. And we did it with like champagne. I was like, what is going on in this house?
So the business class fight, move into a mansion, champagne beer pong on the first day, New Year's Day.
Yeah, just very weird, but I loved it.
So then eventually everyone starts coming and you eventually get this sort of 12-man multi-roster, multinational roster, and you have a game almost immediately. So how does it go getting 12 players to a starting six and figuring out a comp and figuring out everything ready for the first match?
And that was so messy. I mean, because we obviously started practicing, right? Like all the Europeans were practicing together, the Koreans were like doing some pugs with other players. So we were still playing the game, but the situation was like disgusting. Like we had no practice together. Our English was so broken. Like Sado, Hotba, English were like you cannot even speak English, right? We are like struggling to understand Boombox because he's like from
Yeah.
UK, so we're like, what the fuck you saying? People were like struggling to understand me and Fragi because we were like talking some weird ass languages or some shit. So that was like a big mess, but we still practice, we still tried our best, and but yeah, that was a lot
You won
tough
that
two
first
weeks.
game though.
We did against who? Houston,
Houston,
no?
a 3-2,
Yeah,
which kind of
no,
sets
no,
for precedent for this season.
yeah, nobody was expecting us to do well this season, and I think even us, we are like, okay, it's gonna be a tough one, but let's still try. There is like 40 games, so even though if we lose a
You can
few
lose
one at the
quite a
beginning,
lot.
yeah, it doesn't really matter, right? But yeah, we win the first match against Houston. I remember the energy in the crowd was like going crazy. I loved it.
Because this one is all the teams are based in LA, right? So what's the setup? So you all obviously have your own private accommodation at your own house where you live, but then
Mhm.
do you practice? Is your practice at your house or do you practice at the like Blizzard Arena?
So we had the Fusion House, like not even 10 minutes away from the Blizzard Arena. They was both in Burbank, so we could just practice at the Fusion House, go to the Blizzard Arena, do a little warm up there, and get ready for the game. But yeah, we in the backstage we had a whole like we had 20 rooms for each team to be able to practice in the room, and that was actually a really nice setup. I enjoyed.
Yeah, I think which playoffs was it? Do you remember season 5 end of season playoffs where all the teams that qualified had like a little practice room?
Yep.
I remember Chris saying Nat reminded him of like some of the earlier seasons where everyone was in LA, and that, like, it was a really nice vibe just to have all the teams together. You get to interact not just with all the people on your team, but you interact with other teams as well.
Yeah, that was the same vibe. Like, you go in a room, you get out, you see players, you just talk, you go to the coffee machine, you see guys, and you just have fun, and it's just a good vibe that you love.
Were you
LAN
close
event.
with many of the other players from other teams? Any of, like, I'm trying to think, who would be the French players, like AKM, Unco, maybe?
I think there was only Soon and Unko who got signed at the beginning. And I didn't really know them because they were playing for Rogue. So they were like very big back in the days. But no, I mean, I didn't know them that much.
So then you win your first game, 3-2, which ends up being kind of a story of the season for quite a bit. So stage 1, you get blown out by a couple of teams. You lose 0-4 to Boston, 0-4 to London. For those who are also too young to remember, at this point in time, you play 4 maps no matter what. So even if you go 0-3, you've got to play the 4th map.
That was such a weird rule.
40 games, 4 maps no matter what. Sometimes on map 5 if it's a tie. So you also get quite a few wins here, some 3-2s. You beat New York, who are probably one of the favourites for the whole season coming into it. So you 3-2 over them. So at a certain point in these earlier games in this first stage, does it start to become a little bit more organised? Do you understand each other more? Is there becoming a better understanding of how you want to play?
I guess. I mean, that was still very difficult because, like, Saldo got banned at the beginning of the season.
It was a long ban as well, right? Like 30 games or
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah, 30 games banned out of 40, which is insane. But I think that was good for me because if Sado wasn't banned, I think that would have been Sado and Hotba taking the spot. But Hotba English wasn't good, so he couldn't take my spot. So Fraggy and me ended up playing. I think for me that was good. Maybe for the team a bit less. But yeah, that was a very big ban. But yeah, we are still practicing a lot, doing some bugs, doing like 12 man, so Team A against Team B, and a bunch of stuff. But yeah, we are getting slightly better. But there's like so much practice that you have to do, and too much a week is like a lot of work. So it doesn't matter if you win or if you lose, just focus on like the big picture. I think that was the goal.
Yeah, so and I think at the end of stage 1 you finish 7th. 6-4 record though, so not too bad. 7 out of 12 at this point in time.
Yeah,
I always find it
not
funny
bad.
when you look back at these old stuff. There's so many things you have to remember. Oh yeah, and there weren't always 20 teams. Oh yeah. All these other things existed as well or didn't exist back then. So I guess you guys are also a little bit hampered by the fact that a lot of this early stage is a monkey meta. And your
Yeah.
monkey, the guy you bought probably primarily to play monkey, is banned for a very long time.
Yeah, that was rough. I mean, Fraggy was like the Renard guy, Sado, the monkey guy. I think I was the Zarya guy, because back in the day I was playing a lot of Zarya. And Hotba was supposed to be Diva guy. So yeah, that was a little tough for us. We had to adapt. Fraggy wasn't. Yeah, I mean he was jumping in, and we had to follow. But yeah, that was a little tough at the beginning.
Is this will be your first time playing on a roster where there is more than 6 people as well, right? So you suddenly have to fight for your spot for the first time.
Yep. Yep. And that was the first time I had to speak English in Overwatch.
Oh,
I
really?
used to, yeah, I was like full French communication before that. So I was like, oh my God, this is a lot of information. Like in my head, I was like trying to say Monkey One, and I was just mixing it up with some random French, and I was like, okay, I need to chill.
Where did you learn? Where did you know? Did you already know how to speak English then? Like, could you be conversational in it?
I mean, kinda. Like I learned in school, like everybody, I guess, and I was watching like TV shows and stuff like that. But I think people really struggle to understand me, even way worse than now. So yeah, I think that was a lot tough.
So then you get to play, I think, all of these games pretty much actually. So you become the primary off tank player for a lot of this. And then when we move into stage 2, this is when things maybe start to click for you guys and you start to find more success. Suddenly you start to
Yeah.
beat a few more teams and you even qualify for like the tournament at the end of stage 2 here.
hmm Yeah, I mean, we were actually pretty good. Like, we had a very strong back lane. Our DPS were popping off. I don't know if there was Shadowburn or IQ playing, but both of them were like insane Genji. Carpe was, of course, insane on Tracer, Macri, or anything. So we just had to play very slow in the front lane, play on them, and yeah, I think that was like the game style of everybody. New York was doing that a lot. Just play on Jonak and hope he
Mm.
kills everybody. So just kill, don't do any mistake, and kill them. That was the that was the
Easy.
goal.
How organized is it? So in terms of like the coaching structure here, so you've got 3 coaches. Is that right? You've got Kirby.
Haste and Hui, I think.
Yeah.
That was I'm not too sure because I wasn't in the coaching like discussion and stuff, but I think that was a little messy because like hmm, how to say, Hui was like taking care of the Korean players.
Yeah.
He was like, yeah, just you guys do this, blah blah blah. Hayes was like taking care of the European players, and Kirby was like on top of both of them, trying to like make everything click together. So that was a little tough sometimes. I think we had some tension between players and coaches and stuff like that, because people were like trying to manipulate a little bit the roster, trying to make this player play. I
I
like him
see.
more than this guy. So yeah, a 12-man roster is like such a nightmare. I don't know why everybody did that at the beginning. I think everybody had money, so they wanted to try
Just
to
got
do
money, gotta
like a
spend
little,
it.
yeah, like a little football club, and oh my god, maybe this guy. But no, this is nightmare for the players, for everybody.
When any kind of existing relationships, you've obviously got like quite a mix of 12 players, but when there any real existing relationships or friendships when you guys arrive?
No, I mean I didn't know any of them. I mean I played against them online, but I never talked to any of them before, I think.
Outside of the like in-game stuff, then does everyone get on? Is it a good atmosphere? Is it like an enjoyable time with the team?
Yeah, yeah, of course. I mean we're in LA getting paid good money. Like we had a chef for us, Heidi, cooking meal twice a day, every day, in a big mansion with a big pool, a hot tub. I mean, it's like the dream life. Well, what
Hard
can
to be
you
too
not?
unhappy.
Yeah, what can you not like about that?
And then on top of this, as we get towards the end of stage 2, not only are you living the dream life, you start winning the games as well. You get yourself to playoffs. You beat London 3-2 in the semi-final, and then you lose 3-2 to New York, but you get to the stage playoffs. And at this point, what are the expectations for the team? Like, are you starting now to think, or maybe we can be one of the top teams in the league now?
Um, I don't think we ever like think like that because like there is no point of thinking you're gonna win it all except just being sad. I mean, for me at least, I'm just a little pessimist or realist, depending how you see the way. But I'm like, just yeah, just play your game, see how it goes. Maybe if you win, that's very good, and if you lose, I mean, you tried your best, huh? Some people gonna call that loser mentality, but I don't care. I just play, huh?
Well, I think as well, one thing that's certainly true, because it's even true when I joined Overwatch League, and there was way less than 40 games. But the season's still so long, even with only like 24 games or something. Like, it's such a long season. I think getting caught up on like one result or one thing that goes badly does more harm than good. Like, there's going to be so many chances to like figure it out.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't really matter how many games you have, because you're gonna still practice the same amount of time. Because if you don't practice as much as the enemy team, they're gonna get ahead and they're gonna be better than you. So 40 game was like, yes, that was a lot. Yes, that was on stage. That was 2 games a week. But at least if you do bad at the beginning, you can catch up and everything. So I didn't dislike it.
Yeah, I think the stage system helped with that as well. So even if you had like a bad 3 stages, you can actually still have a chance to do well in stage 4 and get something out of it. So I think it actually was broken up quite nicely.
Yeah, and I remember we had some nice breaks. Like if you don't qualify for like first or second stage, you can have a break. So that wasn't too bad. That wasn't a rush as after the next season, I think.
So then for the rest of it, stage 3 and stage 4 become, I guess, quite middling stages. You sort of go like, I think 6-4 in stage 4, and then 5-5 in stage 3. So nothing particularly special happens in terms of like getting to the playoffs again. But again, you get more and more time with the team, and at this point, does a sort of starting 6 start to appear? Like, do you, do
I
you
mean,
guys settle on a core roster, or is it still are you still mixing it up quite a lot in terms of this player comes in for this hero or this map?
yeah, I think we are still mixing it up. Season 4, Sado got unbanned after like the 30 games. So I think Sado ended up playing way more. Hotba as well. I think they wanted to give Hotba some more playtime so he could like get used to the stage, get used to the atmosphere. So Fraggy and me played a lot less. But yeah, I think EQO was on the roster. EQO was very good. Shadowburn was amazing on Genji and stuff. But EQO communication was like helping the team a lot. He was very vocal and very leading for the team. And I think the backline never changed. There was Neptuno and Boombox always there. We had Dayfly and Joe Meister, but Dayfly English wasn't good. And Joe Meister Joe Meister was good, but Neptuno was like a beast on Mercy and on Lucio, so that was tough.
Yeah, it was
And
a Mercy meta for long parts of this entire first season. Really, a lot of Zen, a lot of Mercy.
yeah, yeah. Neptuno was like the girl on Mercy was killing everybody, going crazy.
Well, yeah, when this is
So
also Neptuno starts to get a bit of a reputation as a damage Mercy, but you also
yeah,
start to get a bit of a reputation for Poko bombs.
yep, yeah. I don't know why. I mean, I know why, but like I don't know why nobody was doing it more.
Why
Like
you were the
six
only
was
one doing it? You mean?
yeah. Because I remember in Europe, I stole that from who was that guy? Mete. I think there is like 2 tanks. There was Mete and Maza. Um, I don't really remember, but the Diva guy was like throwing bombs, and I was like, oh my god, that's very impressive shit. He's getting a lot of kills. I need to try to do this. It's very important. So I went in custom games, and I was like putting myself in corners, looking at weirder stuff, like in Counter-Strike, trying to do
Yeah.
some flash or smoke. And I was like, okay, if I use it now, when the enemy is there, maybe I'm gonna get some kills. So I tried to do that for like 1 week, 2 weeks, and stuff like that. I took a bunch of pictures of angle, what my shift need to be at to throw the bomb at the perfect spot. And then I was like in game, I was like, there's no way I can replicate that. What's the point? So I was like, yeah, fuck it. I'm just gonna throw the bomb, make Fraggy jump, so they're all gonna look at Fraggy and nobody is gonna look at my bomb. And I ended up killing people, I guess.
Yeah, quite a lot. Yeah, it's weird
Yeah.
because does that come from? Because obviously in Counter Strike, the idea of having a nade lineup is bread and butter. You'll get people doing nade lineups even in just like online ranked play.
Mm.
But in Overwatch, it's always been like no one really does many things like this.
Yeah, it's like a little less. I mean, there is some Ana lineup and stuff like that, but I think people could get more inventive with like maybe on the arrow, shoot them in the air, look for some wellbang or stuff like that. But I mean, the game is like so fast tempo that do you really need to do that to win? I don't think so.
People have it like a lot on first points, right? Like when they're just.
Yeah.
But then outside of that, like I don't. If you were to ask me how many Ana lineups have I seen for like second point Nambani, I'd be like, literally never in my entire life have I seen anyone do it.
Yeah, no way. I mean, it's like so random that you cannot really rely on it, and I don't know. What's the point? Just focus on your own gameplay, try to improve as a player, and then just leave that random stuff alone.
Does it? Do you think it helped you though, getting like extra attention as like the bomb guy, the Poko bombs? Do you think it like helped increase
Yeah,
your value, or at least increase your confidence as like you're getting all this positive feedback?
yeah, for sure. I mean, I think nobody knew me like when I was in Gamers Origin. Maybe a few European people and French people, but from NA, I was like, who is that French guy? Is he even gonna play? He's probably a Zarya specialist. Doesn't really know how to play anything else. Doesn't speak English. Um, so yeah, when I started doing big bombs, everybody was like, "Oh my god, wait, this is exciting. I like it. I like this guy." So yeah, this gave me a lot of spotlight, and that helped me build my brand as a player, and I think that was really good for me. For sure.
Did you then feel? Did you ever feel at any point that you felt more pressure to keep doing it?
Uh,
Like you almost had to like keep leveling up or keep finding a new way to do it again.
kinda. I mean, no. I just did it when I felt like that was the good move. But I remember, I think Carpe didn't really like it.
No.
He was like, maybe you're doing it too much. Maybe you should pocket me a bit more, so I don't die from your stupid shit. And I was like, okay, maybe he got a point there. But I mean, back in the days was like 6 versus 6, so your other tank could like protect you, and nobody has like escape like Kiriko TP, Suzu, Brigade Shield or anything like that. So like people were like dying, no mobilities. That was like so easy.
I feel like
So
as
I
well.
I just yeah I just throw it.
I remember watching that season one, and it felt like there was always one player on every team who couldn't help but die to the diva bomb like twice as much as everybody else, and it'd always just been
Yeah.
that one person who just, for whatever reason, couldn't figure it out in time, couldn't get away, and would just always end up dying to these bombs coming over the top.
Yeah, I mean for sure. Like even when you look at the Overwatch League season 1, like everybody was so bad at the game. It's crazy how bad like everybody else was. Even from the best player. Even when you look at Carpe POV, looks like a master gameplay. Is that was crazy. I don't know how we like couldn't figure out how to be good at the game. When you even look at the composition, we are like,
Yeah.
what the hell we were doing? That's nonsense.
Yeah, I think especially because this was also before Rollock as well, and we'll talk
Yeah.
about it in a second. But even some of like the playoff comps, and it's like people just running like solo Mercy, like Winston Diva, like a Brig Widow was some of it,
Yeah.
and
I mean,
then there was
I guess
like
that was working, but ugly.
yeah, it's like clearly it must have like you sort of trust that the people scrimming it the whole time, playing it week in week out. And this is like this makes the most sense, and this is why we have to do it like that. But you look back on it now, it's like how did those conclusions get come to? Like how did you end up there?
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't explain it to you. I guess we have to go back in patch note and look what happened. But yeah, now when you look at the composition, you're like, what were they taking? How much drug?
Is the ones before Overwatch League, I think I was watching some of the contenders ones, like the Gamers Origin ones, and it's like people running 3 tanks and just Lucio as healer. And I was like, what must the numbers have been on Lucio that he can just solo heal an entire lobby?
Yeah, just
It's
run.
just
Go.
okay.
Do not take damage. Run, guys.
It's just okay.
Straight to the point. Yep.
So, at this point as well, this is your first time. Is this your first time living away from home, or did you live away from where you were at uni as well?
It's my first time. Yeah.
So then this sort of becomes. Is this whole first year, by the time we sort of get towards like stage 3 and stage 4, this is like your growing up phase. In terms of learning to live by yourself, learning to live with other people.
Exactly.
Learning to play on stage twice a week.
Yeah, that was a lot of stuff to learn. Learn English, learn how to like be a nice human towards other people. That was a lot of stuff. Everybody was like such a kid, and like being in a house with like 12 kids, it's like messy, but you learn so much faster. I think it would have been easier to get apartment, but I think in apartment people would have died. Just
couldn't look after themselves.
Yeah, cockroach everywhere, like just bag full of trash. No way.
Yeah, I think because I felt the same way on London, where there was part of me that wished I didn't have to live in a house with all these gamers and I could just have like a bit of privacy and a bit of independence. But also, the best part of it is living with all your teammates and living with everyone together in one place.
Yeah, so I mean, you enjoy it more, but yeah, you just get so tired at some point. You're like, oh shit, wait, I need a big vacation now. You guys are exhausting me. But yeah, this was fun. I don't think I will ever do it again, though.
So you wouldn't do it again, but you also would never not want to do it once.
Yes, exactly.
So then, this is where we get to, I guess, the crunch time. So going into like these final games of the season, it's actually pretty neck and neck whether Philadelphia even qualify for the playoffs at the end. And I think if I've reverse engineered how you qualified, you had a final game of the season, which originally was going to be you need to win that game to qualify. But actually, 2 teams lost the day before, which meant it didn't matter. Because I think you had a game against London on the last day of the season, which was supposedly going to be like, got to win this game to make sure we qualify. But actually, because I forget which 2 teams, but 2 other teams lost, which meant you just qualified anyway. But either way, you get in essentially on the last couple of days of the season. What's then the expectations going into the first ever like postseason and the qualifiers for like grand finals?
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. Like nobody was expecting us to do well. I think we're like at the bottom of every ranking. We come late. Everybody's struggling, but yeah, we make it to playoffs, so everybody's like so happy. And we want to see how far we can go because I think we improved a lot throughout the season. And playoff is like just one step at the time, so anything can happen. If you got a good bracket, if you got like good meta, just maybe you can go far.
Yeah, so it was Houston and Seoul Dynasty who both lost the day before you, who then missed out.
Yeah.
Houston, that first game of the season where they lost 3-2, maybe Houston end up regretting that one quite a lot at this point in time. And that was obviously the Seoul Dynasty roster, and that was probably everyone expected to be like super elite here with like Miro and Zumba and all of this. But it never quite worked out for them.
So wait, who ended up making it?
So as in, let me find it. Where have I gone now?
I forgot everything. I know New York, London.
Yep. So New York finished top, 34-6. Like New York finished top by a very large margin. Valiant finished second. I think Valiant, one of the teams who really got it together the last couple of stages of season 1. Boston. This is the original. This is like the emergence of Striker as one of the best players on the planet. This is where they have the 10-0 stage. I think the first team to do that. Gladiators make it. London Spitfire make it in 5th. And then in 6th place, Philadelphia Fusion end up making it as well.
Okay, not too bad.
So then the structure for this playoffs is also, with the power of hindsight, very strange. Where what you do is you play a best of 3 of best of 5s. So you play 3 best of 5s, and whoever wins the most best of 5s gets to go through. So you play a lot of Overwatch against the same team in a very short space of time. So you get the first draw against Boston Uprising. And Boston Uprising are actually a pretty scary team. I mean, there's a lot of scary teams here, but a pretty scary team to draw because they're really like peaking, I think, in terms of how well they're playing. Even after all their drama, I think Mistakes comes in and does quite well as well.
It does, yeah.
But then you end up beating these guys 2-1, as in 2-1 over 3 best of 5s.
Yep, of course. I get it, yeah.
So I guess, what's that?
Um,
Yeah, so you win 3-1, lose 3-1, and then win 3-1.
Okay. A bunch of 3-1. Yeah. I remember the meta was so good for us, though. We had EQ on Hanzo and Carpe on Widow. I was on Diva. And I think Fragi... No, Sado was on Winston? Maybe?
Yeah, so when I went back, there's a couple of metas emerge. A lot of it is like solo healer Mercy, of course, Winston Diva, double sniper, and then people are having their flex support. So for you guys, Boombox, sometimes play Zen, sometimes play Hog, sometimes play Tracer, sometimes play Sombra. So it was, but this is when a flex support truly had to flex between literally every possible hero in the game. And I think this is also around the time London start using Orisa, and people start doing a lot more of this like pull hook stuff. So then on some maps you get triple tank, so it's like Hog, Orisa to do the pull hook, but then you also play Diva to try and eat the pull to stop the pull hooks going through, and it becomes this weird mini game of eat the pull or don't eat the pull.
Yep, I remember that. That was actually a fun meta. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, Boombox was on Hog. And yeah, that was a little tricky as a Diva player to hit the pool. Or if you don't hit the pool, you're late, you just need to boop the Hog. Or try to, like, matrice before your Hog gets one shot. I think we were pretty good at that.
Well, you beat Boston at the time, so you kind of been that bad at it. And then not only do you beat Boston, you then draw New York, or like the bracket goes and you get New York in the next round. So while London have had to beat Gladiators and Valiant to get to the finals, you have to beat an informed Boston and then the team that is by far top of the league the entire season. And then in the first best of 5, you win 3-0.
Yep.
And then the second best of 5 is another Philly classic 3-2. And you end up knocking New York out in the semi-finals 2-0.
Yeah, I think we knew we were gonna win that one. I remember. Like, we were so good in Scream, we were like winning everybody. And we were like surprised that nobody was like believing in us. I mean, I guess nobody knew like the Scream bugs and stuff. So everybody was like predicting New York to win. Because, I mean, that makes sense. They ended up first. But we are like, no way we are losing that game, guys. We are so much better than them. That's crazy. And yeah, that went well as well.
And you also then deny New York a chance to play in New York, have sort of a home advantage in that first homestand. So I'm sure they were probably pretty devastated. And this is also a time where Hopper's starting to come into the roster a little bit more now. But you're also playing together a lot. It's actually, for the most part, it's Hopper and Boombox who are rotating in and out. Because then Hopper will sometimes play Hog, but then also sometimes Tracer and also Zen, because why not? Again, Flex Tank, I guess, really earning their earning their name on this one.
Yeah, I mean, Hotbar was like so good on every character. And when he played ranked, he was like just flex queuing, playing. Doesn't matter what he was playing, he was just good at it. And I wasn't that much flexible, to be fair. I remember I played some Sombra, some Torbjorn on Anubis, and I was like, oh my god, this is not good, guys. I have nothing to do in this league if I play this. So yeah, I struggle a little bit, like flexibility-wise.
So then, Knee's first 2 games, the quarters and the semis, are all played in the LA studio still in Burbank. Yep. Then you beat New York, London beat Valiant, and you are both flying out to New York. So what was the gap then? How much time was there between these semi-finals, do you remember? And like how much time did you have to prep for this
Oh,
huge
sure.
game?
I have
Maybe
no
I
idea.
can
Wait, let me look at my phone.
maybe I can help you with this. So you played your second best of 5 against New York on the 19th of July.
Yep.
And then it was the 27th of July, your first game in the grand finals. So a week to fly to New York, get set up, and prepare for probably by far the biggest game of your life so far.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that was in at the Barclays Center. I don't remember how many people, like 12,000, between 12 and 40,000 on 2 days. So that was crazy, and we are like next to New York, so Philadelphia is pretty close. So I think we had the like crowd advantage. Um, and I remember I don't think London was that good. Like I remember the boom, like because they had two rosters, London, like two contenders team like melted together, and I don't think they were that good. Like they were about to explode. So we are like, guys, we have a big chance at winning that one. Just do not fucked up in front of 12,000 people, please. But yeah, we practice a lot. We fly there, and I remember we stayed in an hotel in New York that was so sketchy. That was like so bad. Like I mean, New York wasn't the best city, and I guess it's not. So like I remember the day before the final, like some homeless guy pressed the fire alarm button and wake everybody in the hotel at 3 a.m. So you go on stage, you see the London players, everybody's like so tired, their hoodies on, and everybody's like, oh, I don't want to do this. So yeah, that was quite a ride.
And then I guess it should be said as well, this is the same format, so it's multiple best of 5s
Yep.
again. So potentially a 3-day grand final, essentially. So we go into the first best of 5, and I think you don't start the first two maps for this one.
Nope.
So it's, I think, Dorado first, and it's like Winston Diva, Double Sniper, Zen Mercy. And this is then Hopper and Sado playing the Winston Diva. Is this just because originally these were the heroes these guys were brought in for? They obviously both speak the same language, so they communicate better. How did that transition work where Sado and Hopper ended up sort of taking more of this playtime?
I'm not sure actually. I mean, I guess they were just better than us, which will make sense. But yeah, they were speaking English, not Korean, so they got better in English. Um, yeah, I think I'm not too sure how we decided to split the map time. Maybe I was playing some map, he was playing some map. Just I don't remember that.
Yeah, because the first two maps it was Hopper and Boomboxing, and
Yeah.
then it was a Winston Diva double sniper mirror on Dorado, which I think you lost. And then on Oasis, you play Winston Diva Tracer Farah, and they're playing Widow
Okay.
Brig. And you win that map, and then you come in for map 3. So series is tied 1-1. You come in for map 3 alongside Hopper, and this is where Hopper is doing a bit of Tracer, a bit of Hog, bit of Zen, bit of everything.
Okay.
What was it
What
like?
was the map?
It was Eichenwald was that map 3.
Yeah. What was it like? I mean, I just bring my stuff on stage, keyboard, mouse, everything, and I just see that many people in the crowd, and I'm like, oh, that's a lot of people. It's gonna be tough to focus. And when you go on stage, like everything is shaky. The desks are like moving. You don't have any sound. Everybody's screaming in their mic. It's just very, very bizarre. I don't know, you cannot get used to it. Even though we played like 14 games in front of the Blizzard crowd at the Blizzard Arena, that wasn't the same. You cannot replicate it. You cannot get used to it. It's just weird feeling.
Yeah, I remember Boom talking about it and saying it was like the whole place was just shaking constantly. I remember I went to one of the CS:GO majors in London, and they
Yeah.
had like the proper, they have like the soundproof booths.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, so they have a proper soundproof booth. So even though it's maybe a bit of a crazy atmosphere outside, it's quite calm there. And the players said, well, even though you can't really hear them like clearly, you still hear like noise. You hear like that, and also because everyone's like the crowd started stamping because they knew it was like soundproof booths, so it would just start shaking instead. So I was like, that's got to be worse, really. So were you? How was it? Was it pre-planned that you were always going to play map 3, so you sort of knew you were going to come in, or?
Yeah, I think so. Like all the maps were like we knew what we were going to do. We didn't really adapt anything on the go. So I knew I was going to play. And I don't know what was the result of that map. We lost, no?
You lost Icon World, yeah.
Well,
Sacre bleu. So yeah, so then you go to Volskaya and you do goats on attack with Moira, like the original goats. And then you do an Orisa Diva Hog mirror on defense, and this is the full try and hit the pull hook, try and eat the pull hook, don't get pull hooked. And then I think this is the Volskaya where Prophet ultimately wins it in the last fight by getting that 5-man, which I'm sure most people have seen the clip of. So how was it after this then? So it's a very unique situation because most of the time if you play in these big grand finals, it's just whatever happens, and then you win or lose. Whereas you lose this one, but there's still 2 more best of 5s to play over the next 2 days. So
yeah.
what happens?
I mean,
what happens next in this like in between time?
that was a little sad. We were like, oh shit, they're not as bad as we thought they were. So maybe we're gonna need to think of something to make us win the game. So yeah, I mean, everybody was like sad. But there is like one more day. Is it like 2 days or 3 days? I think it's on 2 days, no?
Well,
No
yes.
way.
So I guess spoiler alert for anyone who doesn't know the results of season 1.
Already.
Yeah, actually, yeah, you're right. So you were going to play both. You played 1 best of 5 on the first day, and then potentially 2 best of 5s on the second day.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. But yeah, we are like, yeah, there is still tomorrow. We need to focus up, go back to the hotel, watch the VOD. And I think what we said, we are like, we want a map on Winston Diva, so let's try and do more of that. But I don't know, like I remember I was like, we are not like focusing on why we lost. What should we improve on? I don't know, like I was a little mad because like we didn't have anything better than the day before. Like what we do?
You
Do
didn't
we play
change
more
it.
aggressive?
You didn't change
Yeah,
anything.
we didn't check play style or anything. I was like, yeah, maybe it's gonna be tough.
Yeah, well, it turned out it was quite tough as well the next day. So we go into the next best of 5. You start on Junkertown, and you play this map. You play all these maps, I think, on this second day. And it's an Orisa Diva Hog mirror, which has become the classic of these playoffs. Lose that one. Then we go to Lijiang Tower, and it's a Pharaoh, Widow, Zen, Mercy, Winston Diva mirror. And I think you play this one, which is maybe a bit interesting, because now you're playing ahead of Hopper on this particular map. So I don't know if that's because there's like a particular swap in mind or something, or if...
No, I don't think I was supposed to play that map, but I think maybe Hotbar was like a little bit more like getting shaky by the crowd, maybe.
Yeah.
So we were like, let's try something else. And yeah, I remember the game, like they were just diving us, and we never experienced something like that. We were like just playing slow as always, and Gesture and Fury was just jumping on us like madmen. And we were like, wait, let's focus them, guys. They're feeding. And like their backlane were just pushing us and killing us. And we're like, oh, what do we do, guys? And then we realized too late that we had to jump first and create space and kill people.
Yeah, because this is weird, because I think most people maybe do know this story now. Because the story behind London's version of these events is that they completely mentally collapse at some point during playoffs, don't practice or refuse to practice, say they'll just play, then 3-0 both their games in Burbank. Well, yeah, 3-0, I think all 4 best of 5s they play.
Yeah.
And then obviously, probably at a certain point decide to start practicing again since they're going to New York. And they just sort of bounce back. And it's, I think in many ways, for a lot of people who like follow a lot of esports or sports, it's actually a really unsatisfying story because you feel like they shouldn't be rewarded for mentally collapsing and then just clutching it out.
Yeah.
But
I mean, we are pretty sure that we are going to play against Valiant or... Yeah, Valiant. That was like Phili against Valiant, the final. And it would have been cool because Unko and Sun was there. But yeah, London just came out of nowhere. They were like, oh my god, guys, we are good actually. Let's just put everything on the side, play the game, and win it all. And that was impressive.
because then we go to map 3, and this is probably about as high pressure as it can get because this is now like have to win this one to stay in the series. And it's a double sniper, Zen Mercy, Winston Diva Mirror. You're in again. This one.
What is it? King's Row?
King's Row, yeah. So I think you both full cap, if I remember right. But then they cap with time. So then they go goats. They have to attack and get a tick to win. Otherwise it's a draw on King's Row. And they go like goats with Moira to attack for final 1. And obviously they cap it. So then obviously there's all these shots you always see. They always use them in the Overwatch League promo videos of like that first trophy and that first thing. You're on the other side of this, on the other side of the stage now. They don't show on camera. How does it feel? Because maybe at the start of the season, you never expected to be here on the grand final stage. But by the time you actually get there, it really seems possible now. Oh, we can actually win this now.
Yeah, I mean, of course, you just don't go at the final and just don't try your hardest. So yeah, everybody was like destroyed. Oh no, it would have been such a magical moment to win the grand final. Nobody was expecting us to go there. Everybody was like putting us last. So I don't know, just going there and losing it is like, no, not like this. And we are like so good on this meta. Yeah, it's a little sad. Everything is just a little sad about this final.
Yeah, well, it's such a nice story as well in some ways. Like the most mixed of any roster going into it. You arrive a little bit late. A lot of things don't go for you at the start. The whole season you spend clutching map 5s and winning map 5s and maybe getting wins you shouldn't get. You just about qualify in the last 2 days. And then you go on this like big run. You knock out everyone's favourite for the entire season in New York. But just not to be on the final day.
Not enough. No. It is what it is sometimes, you know.
But overall, this is an incredible year, right? For you personally,
yeah.
for you professionally as well. And does this then make you think this is what I want to do for as long as I can now?
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, I really enjoyed the first year, even though that was very stressful. Like 12 player was too much, and I wanted to do one more year. I mean, I wanted to do as many years as I could because you only get pro once. But yeah, just fantastic year. I don't think could have been better. I mean, we could have won the final, but yeah, could have been way worse. So
yeah,
very happy.
I mean, so yeah, there probably were some teams. Like I think a lot of the teams that came in with really high expectations, like the Envy roster, who was so dominant for so long, that became the Dallas Fuel. The Seoul Dynasty roster, and that was the old Lunatic High, came in and didn't even make playoffs. Obviously, Misfits, who are so dominant in Europe, come in and do really bad. So many of the teams that everyone thought would do well really fell off quite hard, and it was, I guess, in some way, it was quite interesting. These like newer teams were the ones that actually did quite well.
Yeah, the meta change. That was a little risky to pick at the whole team and try to make it work. Just pick some individual very good players and try to mix them up with some new players and see how it goes. But yeah, season 1 was like very wild season for everybody, I think.
Yeah, whenever I hear people talk about this, like season 1 always feels like the Wild West compared to now. There's like all the crazy stories you hear are always from like season 1 or 2. They're never from they're very rarely from the later seasons. This is where like stuff just happened. Like I'm trying to think. Even just ones like, was it Houston, who like on a couple of occasions forgot to sub a player out, so they just had to play on the wrong roster. All these like goofy things you don't think should be possible in like a multi-million-pound franchise or something keep happening.
Yeah, but I mean that was like the first time for everybody, so nobody really knew what they were doing. Everybody was like a bit unprofessional and stuff, so that was like first time, yeah, for a lot of people.
Yeah,
So
well,
a lot of confusion.
Well, yeah, I think as well as obviously it's the first time for a lot of the players playing on that level. Also for a lot of the coaches, the managers, the GMs, it's their first time doing something like this as well, especially on that scale. So the whole thing's just a little bit like figure it out as we go.
Yep, go with the flow.
So then season 1 ends. Your contract is your contract for multiple years initially anyway?
No, that was a 1+1. So that was only 1 year, and if the team wanted 1 more year, I had to accept. So they were like, we really liked you as a player and as a teammate, so we're gonna sign you for 2 more years. So they made me a deal for like 2+1, which obviously I had to accept because I was on the minimum salary. And when you are like signed, it's tough. I mean, it's tough to refuse because like they obviously give you more money, and if another team wants you, they have to talk to your GM, so they are not gonna talk to you, so you don't know if like another team wants you. So yeah, it's like a little tricky situation, and then your GM is gonna try to sell you to that team, but if he sells you too high, the other team is gonna be like, I don't want to give you that much money because I pay too much buyout. So you're like, shit. So I was like, I'm very happy with Fusion. We went to final, like amazing org, amazing everything. I'm just gonna sign 2+1, of course, with you like every day of the week.
Yeah. So, and does this happen quite quickly as well? So it's a pretty straightforward off season for you, where Philly come back and say, "Let's do it again."
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think we wanted to do like a smaller roster, season 2. 12 man was like too much, and I was like, okay, I really enjoyed everything. Let's do it again, but I want my own apartment.
That was your one condition.
Yeah, I was like, okay, the fusion house, that's cool, you can keep it, but please have me have my own apartment. I don't want to live with all these degenerate people all the time.
And what did
So
they say? Did Roston sort you out?
Yeah, they were like, okay, sure, let's do it. And so they got me a place like 10 minutes away, biking, and that was very nice of them.
Oh yeah, one thing I've heard from you and also from Chris a lot as well is anytime anyone speaks about Philadelphia Fusion, they can't speak highly enough about how well looked after you guys were and the sort of like the like upper tier of management looking after you, and it seems like everyone's been well taken care of like on every iteration of that roster.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't done that many jobs in my life and that many esport organization, but like every time I hear about other esport, and I'm like, oh shit, wait, that's messy, that's shady, and what's going on there. But I don't know, everything that went through with Fusion was like so good. Like Tucker, the investor, was like with us all the time. He was with us at every games, going to the gym with us, eating the meal that the chef made. That was like such a fun vibe. And you're like, oh, okay, wait, that's cool. Roston was like working so much because he had to take care of 12 babies, doing the production videos and shit. But he has still so much time to give to everybody. So that I don't know, just the whole experience was like lovely.
So then you guys do go for a more compact roster the next season. So you and Sado are the only tank players. So this
Yeah.
is good news for your playtime. And a lot of the other people stay as well. You keep Snillo, EQO, and Carpe. You keep Neptuno and Boombox. And then you bring in Kib, not French Kib, British Kib. You bring in Elk, who I don't know if you brought in Elk straight away or he was on like your academy team and was two-way for a bit.
We had Helk at the beginning, yes. But I think at the beginning we had Fragi, which we traded.
Was it Guangzhou you sent him to?
Yeah. At the middle of the season, maybe to Kib.
Yeah, I think that sounds right. So then, what are your expectations for this season, as for you personally, as you as a team? Because obviously you set the bar pretty high in season 1 by reaching grand finals.
Yeah, I mean everybody was like happy with season 1, and we are like, okay, let's do it a small roster. All the good players, we keep them. We just shake it up, and even though we knew we had some issue in the team, we didn't really fix them, and we just cut some people and hope it's gonna do season 1 again, right? And didn't really work like that. So we struggle, and then the meta was tough. But yeah, expectations were pretty high, I think, this season.
When you say issues in the team, do you mean like personal conflicts or just like arguments about in-game stuff, like how we want to play or what we want to play?
A bit more personal conflict, I think. I mean, yeah, people were just being a little shitheads sometimes, just tough to argue with, and I mean, it's just team vibe. Sometimes you, yeah, but do this, no, why? I don't know. Okay,
Yeah, I
just
think
no.
it's probably one of the things I think the public most or maybe least understand about the inner workings of a pro team, in that there is just quite a lot of conflict. Like I think did you see that Albert did a stream where he sort of talked about some of the drama and the conflict?
Yeah,
And it was like, well, it's kind of interesting, but also I think every team has a version of this. Even the teams who you think are like, who kind of have, I guess, the brand of being like, these guys are friends. Like, we maybe had that on London, right? Everyone always says the
yeah,
power of friendship, but I think we'd be lying if we said it was always just roses and smiles and happiness at every point. Like,
yeah. Of course.
it's hard to live with people. It's hard to work with people,
Yeah,
especially
and
when everyone's like new to it. Everyone is young. It's their first job, first time living away from home.
yeah, and especially when everybody's like competing, everybody wanna be good at what they're doing. So if you lose, it's gonna get even worse. So yeah, it's tough, but yeah, you're right. Everybody has like a team story. But what I like about Fusion is nobody just snitches or spoke to anybody else. That was just inside the team. Just work it out or just shut up. But don't spread around rumors and information. We are like one big family. If you have an issue, just go talk to somebody and we're gonna fix it. But
It's
don't talk to other players in
sold
the
within the
league.
family.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think one thing that I always think when every Overwatch League season, especially if you're an Overwatch League player or staff, you always hear stories from other teams. And the number one
Yeah.
question is always, well, how did this story get out? Like who's talking about this and telling their outside friends rather than like talking with the gang?
It's usually Americans, people. So much talking between them. Awful players.
So then, Season 2 probably doesn't really go how you would have hoped. I think
Nope.
Stage 1 goes quite well. You finish 3rd overall. But then when you get to the playoffs, you lose. Where are we? You beat Atlanta, but then lose to Shock. This is obviously when Shock starts. This is the season where Shock starts to become kind of what everyone knows Shock as these days. So, but after that, it becomes pretty middling. I think stage 2, you don't finish much higher. Yeah, 11th in stage 2. 11th in stage 3.
Yeah, I mean that was the meta. That was the meta. God what's meta? No,
Yes, I
I
think.
think so. Huh?
Yeah, it was meta for most of the season, then I think it changed for playoffs to...
Yeah.
Do you remember the Orisa, Doom, Reaper?
Yep.
So yeah, so it was Goats for a long part, and then this wasn't. This was something you guys always struggled with.
Gods.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I remember thinking, I was like, oh shit, wait, we kicked Hotbar, and we have a meta where Gods would have been so good with him on Diva, me on Zarya. I think we would have been like a top tier team. And I was like, ah shit. Because Scarpe had to play Zarya, and he was a little struggling on it. His grab wasn't coming out fast enough. He was scared of the enemy Diva matrix, so we were like a little bit like lacking damage. I was like, oh shit, I want to play Diva and Zarya both at the same time. Wait, let me do two-man computer. So yeah, we struggle a lot on God's composition. That wasn't our strength at all. So yeah, that was a tough year for us.
Yeah, I always thought that because I always felt like, and I think this happened for a few teams where like they either had like a guy, obviously their off tank was always planned to be their Zarya player, then they find themselves in this weird situation where they need just all the tanks to be playing at the same time.
Yep.
And I feel like there's probably was never a time in your career where you actually got to play Zarya consistently.
Nope. I wish though, because like I think season 1, season 2, I was maybe one of the best Zarya. But I mean, it's tough to say that because Zarya in ranked is so much different than Zarya in the league. You don't play for yourself, like you don't use bubble on yourself and play selfish. So I don't know, but yeah, I think I would have been pretty good, I think.
This is also, you get a few slight coaching changes as well. So
Yeah.
Nametwi, if I'm saying that right, and Hayes become joint head coach,
Yeah.
and Chris enters the fray. So
Yeah.
this is maybe a question more just for me personally, but this is Chris's first season as a coach. I think he'd done like a tiny bit of work for British Hurricane before, but this is like his first the big stage. What was Chris like? What was like your first impression?
Um, I mean, tough to say. He was a bit chubby and just he was a gamer, right? Just
Yeah.
he wasn't eating much. He was just eating fries and nuggets, and you're like, what the fuck is that guy? Why is he like that? Um, but yeah, I knew about him, of course, because I played against him quite a lot in Europe.
He was in
I
that
was
first
like,
season of Contenders against you, I think, actually. It
yeah,
was on
and
Singularity.
yep, Singularity, yeah, maybe, yeah. And I was like, okay, oh yeah, he's a main tank, he's playing Rain, okay, it's not the greatest, but maybe he can be smart. Um, and back in season 2, he was doing his job, not more, not less. He was doing, yeah, Hayes and we tell me what to do, I'm gonna do it. But he was very friendly with all the players. He was just like gluing the team together, trying to make the Korean and every player like love each other. And yeah, I think he was very important, and he gained more, uh, like he gave more friendship to the team than we ever had.
Yeah, I think one thing I found with Chris when we first worked together on Team UK, just immediately welcome. Even though I
Yeah,
probably came in as the person who didn't know any of the players, didn't know Hayes or Chris at all. Super welcoming, super friendly. made me feel immediately like it was right that I was there. That I'm not just an outsider.
Yeah, no, he's so good at that. Being social when all the gamers are like pretty awkward. We don't talk to each other. We're like,
How did the dynamic work then between the joint head coach? Because that seems like a really weird setup to me.
Yeah, that was awful.
Awful, as in like
Yeah.
they didn't see eye to eye, like different ideas.
Yeah, different ideas, but I don't know, just that was just messy situation, so much drama. Just no, that wasn't good. I think we had to just but I mean it's tough because Kirby's gone, right? Uh so there's like two assistant coach. Who you gonna promote? You have to promote one of them, but if you promote one of them, the other one is gonna be like, why not me? What the fuck? So yeah, I think that was a little off from us during the off season. A little mistake.
Yeah, because I think this happens in esports, and it also happens, I think, in a lot of sports teams as well, where a lot of the assistant coaches aren't assistant coaches because that's their dream job, but because they want to make that step to head coach.
Yeah,
So
of
it can
course.
become quite competitive, and also quite competitive. We talked before, right? You have competitive between maybe you and the other off tank about who gets to play, and then you maybe even have then conflict between your coaches about whose ideas get used, whose comp do we play, whose idea do we use for this map. It can become like a pretty difficult area to figure out.
Yep. It's always gonna be the good and bad coach, and everybody's gonna try to stab each other and take their job. So
Play favorites and yeah.
it's a little difficult.
So then this season kind of ends quite early for you then because you don't make. I think you make the play-ins. Let me see.
Yeah.
You make the play-ins, but then you lose in the first round to Shanghai, and this is in the Arista Sig. I think it was mostly Doom Reaper that teams were playing, but I think you were playing a lot of May Reaper yourselves, and then Moira Lucio. So
Mm.
we're finally off goats. Does it feel maybe like season one is repeating itself, and the meta's changing in a way that suits you guys a little bit more as we get to the end of season?
No, really doesn't.
Oh.
I remember we were like going to play-ins and we were like, guys, we are so fucking bad. Everybody hate each other. Let's just troll the game. Let's just troll it. Just YOLO. And I remember there was like, I think the month Sigma came out. So I started playing so much of it. I was like, I want to be the best at it.
Yeah.
And we go on stage against Shanghai. We are like, guys, we are not gonna win. Let's just have fun. Have fun. Just that's it.
Enjoy
A
it.
last one. Yeah. And everybody for like I don't know how long the game was. That was like forever, 2 hours maybe. Everybody's just trolling around, just making jokes in voice chat and stuff. And I'm like, guys, actually, we have a chance to win that one. Should we focus? And I remember I played so good that game, and we had uh, just that's it. We lost it, and
Because it's actually, on the surface, it's a nail biter. It's 7 maps. You lose 2 for ultimately. So let's say you lose the first 2 maps, draw the 3rd map, win the 4th map to make it 1-2, then lose the 5th map, win the 6th map. So at this point, it's 3-2 in the 3-2 in the series to Shanghai, and then you eventually lose it on Dorado. Both teams full cap and another push. Both teams cap first again, but they get it further on second than you do. So
yeah,
on the
I mean
surface, it was really there.
that was always like that with Philly. Like we had no close match. That was always a fight. We going to map 5, going to I don't know how long the game were. Always struggling. You get out of stage, you have your head like about to explode. I don't want to play this game anymore. Too many people, just people shouting in my ears for like 2 hours. I'm done. Um, but yeah, that was a very close game from Shanghai. But I remember, even though we lost, we were like, okay, hey, that wasn't our season. Just yeah, GG. Bye.
So the season ends, and this time, how do you reflect on it now? Then looking back on it, are you obviously didn't get the results you wanted as a team, but for you personally, I feel like you said you've
Um,
enjoyed parts like Chris made it a nicer atmosphere, but then there was also a lot of conflict as well. So where do you see it now looking back?
yeah, I mean, game-wise was very difficult. Not a meta, not we didn't improve in during the off season. But I mean, I had my own apartment, so even though like things were getting a little heated, I was like, I'm leaving, guys.
Just going home.
Yeah, have a nice end of the day. But yeah, that wasn't the best season for me and for us, I think.
So then, as we transition to season 3, the roster changes become a little bit more dramatic.
Yeah.
This is where I don't know if this was, I guess, an internal decision between like Tucker and Rostam, but this season it feels like this is the season to go big.
It was.
So this is, I guess, maybe the logic is also like because this was the season where we were originally going to go to the homestand model,
Yeah.
and it's actually started like that. So this time the roster gets massive again. We've tried smaller, but now we're going to go big. We're going to sign everybody, and this is maybe like if you ever hear Chris talk about Philadelphia, it's always this season and how good they were this season and how good it was. In this roster, you and Sado still on tank. Fury joins you as well from London. DPS, Carpe and EQO stay. Ivy and Hisu come in.
Yep.
Chipser also comes in.
Why not?
Why not? Then Boombox is still here. So then you Sado and Boombox and EQO and Carpe have sort of been here the entire time. Alarm comes in and Funny Astro comes in. So immediately, there's so many big names now on this roster.
Yep.
And I think even when you signed it, like a lot of these people are big names when you sign them as well. You know, like I think Fury's obviously a huge name. Astro comes in with a pretty big reputation at this point. Hisu as well, Ivy as well. Chipser, of course, has a big reputation. And this is also a pretty significant coaching changes as well. So the only person who stays is Chris, and then KDG comes in, Mobydik comes in, and Sata even comes in as well. And obviously, so now not only does the roster look stacked, the coaching staff looks stacked. You've come off the back of a bad season. What's your journey here? Are you just kept and you're never in peril of not being on this roster?
Yeah. Can I do a quick pee break before that?
Yeah.
Because it's a big one. I think what we forgot to say was season 2 was in Philly, which is even more sad that they didn't do well.
Oh, the finals were in Philly, you mean?
Yeah. It's just the final curse. First year in New York doesn't do good. Then second year in Philly don't do good.
Not to be. I don't think any teams really ever got to play like with a proper home crowd advantage.
Nope.
Because where were we? We were in Anaheim, season 5. And that was, I guess, Shocker actually pretty close. Like San Francisco to LA is like not the furthest.
True. But yeah, for the season 3, that was, I think, the biggest season. Everybody was like investing so much. Everybody was like, okay, now is the time that like the team name makes sense. We are Philadelphia. We are in Philadelphia. So let's just go big. So we were staying at such a nice apartment. That was crazy. Like on the 30th floor, we could see the whole skyline. We rented a place to play at, like 15-minute walk away in center of Philly. And we had such a competitive roster. And yeah, I don't know, like everything was going so well. So that was like the biggest season for us to do well. And I think we did not too bad this season, no?
Yeah, no, it went pretty well. What's interesting about this is you actually got the chance to play in Philadelphia as well. Because the season starts with the homestands. I think we have maybe 5 homestands before COVID happens and then really scuppers a lot of these plans. But I mean, you got to play. I think it was at week 2, one of the first ones. Then at Philadelphia, you got to play. I think you guys won all your games as well.
Yeah, we did.
So what was it like? Because obviously you've played at this point. You've played in front of the Burbank crowd loads. You've played in front of the New York crowd at the Barclays Center. How does this compare when it's a crowd that is, however much, like 90%, 99% rooting for Philly?
Yeah, they were crazy. I mean, we always talk about Philly fans, like, because in every sport they play, they're like always the craziest, right? When they play like Super Bowl or when they play basketball or everything, they are just going crazy all the time, and that was the same for esport. So many people were like cheering, so many people were like so nice to us, and when the enemy team was like coming out, they were booing for them. That was like that was so nice. I don't know. That was like the whole point of this like city base, so that you can be in front of your crowd and have the crowd advantage. So yeah, that was such a nice time playing in front of Philly crowd.
And then the very next week, you then go get the opposite treatment. You go to Washington. And then you're now the away team. You don't actually play Washington, so I don't know if you actually don't get that bad a treatment. But how is it then playing at like another team's homestand where you're the visiting team?
Yeah, that was nice actually. I mean, we didn't travel that much. I think Washington to Philly, we did it in train or something.
Oh, really?
So that was quite enjoyable. And yeah, the homestand was actually nice, very big, a lot of activities outside in like the center of the city. Um, so yeah, I was like, I love that. Remind me of like the beginning with Game of Origin when I was doing a bunch of LAN and going around, seeing people that I like. So I was like, yeah, this is what I like to do.
Getting used to it, because it seems like a crazy idea now, but the original plan for this season was for this to just keep going, for you to be in Philadelphia 1 week, then you to go to Washington, and then I think you went to Houston afterwards.
Yeah.
And the plan was just to keep doing this.
Yeah, keep going.
For
Just
an
like
entire
normal.
year, which
Yeah, just like regular sports.
just like regular sports, yeah. So at this point, you do 3 homestands in a row, 1 at home, 2 away. You play, I think, 5 matches total. I think you only played 1 match in Houston, which seems like an awfully long way just to go play 1 match. But you've won all of these matches. But at this point, how intense is the schedule? You've done it for maybe 3 weeks. How does it actually feel as the person who's having to fly and practice?
Yeah, that was very tough. Like to organize all the scrim. When do we play? When do we arrive? Like what time should we board in and stuff. So that was a lot of like hard work from our coaches and the manager and Roston. But yeah, like team wise, I think people enjoy traveling. That wasn't too bad. But yeah, we didn't play that much Overwatch. But we had a good roster, so we didn't really need to practice that much. Luckily.
Yeah, when I think back to times during like season 4, 5, and 6, how often we spend the entire week just trying to figure out what comp to play. And this is playing like 3 blocks to 6 hours a day, VOD reviewing a bunch, and still maybe we'll figure it out with like 2 days to go what we're happy with. But you guys almost don't have any of these opportunities. You just have to play.
No, yeah, for sure. I mean,
good.
you have to gamble. That was the main thingy. Just gamble, play one comp, hope that works, and if it doesn't work, make it work. There's like no other option. But yeah, like no practice, and I mean everybody was like copying like the best team in the league all the time.
Yeah.
I think every season just Shock is playing that, let's play that, and let's try to do better than them with like less good player. But I think this season we are like the best one, so everybody was like trying to copying us, but it's so tough to catch up on teams like that.
Yeah, I think especially because one thing that always happens for these top teams is they pick comps that are good for their players.
Yeah.
So then if you just don't happen to have, you know, Sado on Monkey or Carpe on Widow or Tracer, then the comp might not feel as great for you as it does for you. But
Mm.
I think the time pressure gets to a lot of teams, and they just copy and try and make it work.
Yeah, you have to force it. Otherwise, if it's like the right meta and the team is right, if you don't copy, you are gonna lose so much time. And if you copy, maybe you can try to make it work. But trying to do like, oh my god, I'm gonna switch this. Wait, it doesn't work, so I need to adapt and do play my DPS there and there. It's like so much difficult. So just copy, see what they do exactly the same,
I
and
hope you do
hope
it
that
better.
you. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think it's often underestimated how horrendously hard it is to prepare everything for a match, even with only one match a week or something, with all the different maps, all the different heroes that may or may not be there, all the different things you might have to prepare for because you don't know what the other team's going to play.
Yeah, that was tough. I mean, with like the traveling and stuff, I remember we are doing VOD review in the plane. Like the coaches were like seated in front, and we are like in all. Everybody was behind, and we were like looking at the laptop, and everybody was like, "Okay, you need to go there and do this. Oh, careful, they're gonna have this composition there." So yeah, we tried to optimize our time the best that we could, but yeah, that was very tough.
How does the coaching? So this is probably the most stacked coaching roster you've ever worked for,
Yeah,
other than obviously London, where I was there, of course. But
of course.
aside from that, this was pretty stacked. So it's KDG, Chris, and Moby.
Yep.
So a lot of different things have been said about KDG over the years, both good and positive, depending on who you speak to. What's your take and your experience with KDG?
I mean, that was a insane hard worker guy. You cannot deny that. He was just going to the practice like 2 hours before everybody, leaving 2 hours after everybody, just chugging Red Bull, chugging coffee, and he was just working all the time. I think this guy must have been so stressed. It's crazy how much he was just working. Um, but yeah, I mean, he was very strict. This like Korean coaching, I think. Uh, and he was not like coaching the team. He was just coaching players and try to make every pieces of the puzzle like go together. So that was like the first time I ever worked with a coach like that. But I mean, he did an amazing job. Like the way he coached Ivy to play the May and Sado and everybody, well, I was like, okay, I mean, that's working. What can you do? A record speak by herself. He was doing an amazing job, but yeah, sometimes was a little too stressful, I think.
Yeah, I think the people I've heard speak about him speak as he's like one of the smartest people at Overwatch in terms of
Yeah,
like, especially for like individual feedback and helping a player like know what their job is in every comp, know what they should do in each situation. I think most people say he's sort of second to none. I think Chris has said that, Fish has said that, Astro has said that as well.
yeah, I think he was a very good one-on-one coach. Like teach players how to play, where to play, why to play there. But he wasn't a good head coach, I think. That was the issue with the team. He wasn't good with talking to people and stuff like that. So that was a little difficult sometimes.
Like he wasn't a people leader.
Yeah, exactly. Chris was the people leader. So every time we had an issue, we were go talking to Chris, and then he was go talking to KDG, and they were like cooking some stuff with Moby, and we everything came out great. But talking to KDG was like a little rough.
Yeah, but it worked.
It worked. I mean,
Yeah,
the season
so
was amazing.
it's
So
really hard
can
to
you really?
argue with the results
Yeah.
at least, because I
Can you blame
think
the guy?
yeah, because I think your final record for this season is 24-2, which is
Amazing.
that's pretty good. And it's just only enough to have you finish second vote overall because Shanghai go 27-2, and this is obviously when Shanghai sort of start to trend up. This is when Fleta really starts to become the guy. This is where they have like Void and Fearless still, and Fearless starts to become less the player who goes 0-40 and the guy who will go on to win Grand Finals MVP. Izayaki and Lee Jae-gong join them, so Shanghai very dominant, but yeah, 24-2, ahead of Shock, just about. Can't be too unhappy.
Yep, for sure.
So then the expectations must get pretty big with this as well, because the season starts very well. You're flying all over the place. You're winning way more games than you're losing. But then COVID happens. So all of these plans are now cancelled. All the homestands are going away and everything moves online. So do you guys all move back to Philly with this?
Yeah, I mean, we were always in Philly, but yeah, we stay in Philly. We play from our apartment because we cannot go to the facility anymore. So it's like a little difficult to adapt everything. And I mean, most of us, we are like really excited to travel to places. We were supposed to go to Paris to play
That would have been cool.
against Paris. Yeah, so which should have been like the best like match ever, I think. But yeah, everybody is like a little bummed out. We're like, oh shit, COVID, that sucks. What the fuck is that? Is this gonna stay? But yeah, I mean, we keep practicing from our home. We have really nice apartment, really nice gym, a pool inside, so we can't complain. Huh? But yeah, I wish season 3 would have gone other way.
Yeah, well, I guess in some ways you may be lucked out that you had such nice apartments on the year you're going to get locked in your apartment for
Yeah.
the whole year. Because I think maybe people forget as well, but at the time when they started cancelling homestands, they thought they would start up again. Like, it thought we would just have to like cancel them for a couple of months or something, maybe. But by the time we got to the end of the season, we'd be back in this full flow. So everyone was really figuring it out on the fly. But then,
Yeah, nobody knew how to react. It was like, wait, is this gonna stay forever, or do we go back on? What's going on?
so then all the games move online, but that doesn't actually slow you guys down at all in terms of winning all your games. Every competition, obviously your roster's quite robust really in terms of all the different hero pools. This is now maybe a different situation for you where in season 1 you ended up being, I guess, the big dog in the relationship and getting most of the playtime over Hopper. And then season 2, it was just you, so you got 100% of it. But then season 3, Fury comes in. Obviously, Fury, a very talented player. How did you feel? What were your expectations when you get told, hey, we're signing Fury? Is it a part of you that's like, oh, this guy's pretty good at Diva. Wait, I play Diva.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we had the same hero pool, so I was like, oh shit, that's gonna be tough, right? Because even though we're on the same team, it's like Formula One. You are not really teammate with your teammate because we are both competing for the same spot. So yeah, that was tough. Like during the off season, Roston talked to me and it was like, maybe we're gonna sign Bernard, which is like from the academy team. I was like, okay, yeah, sure. I mean, he's a really good guy and he's really good at the game. And then I think he had like an opportunity with Fury. And it's like, actually, Poko, we're gonna sign Fury. And I'm like, oh shit, that's difficult. Because the guy is, of course, amazing at the game, so. But yeah, I mean, I still was practicing hard and giving it all. But yeah, it's a little tough to digest.
Yeah, and I guess the way most of the season ends up going is it is Fury playing more often than not.
Yeah, I think I remember playing at the beginning of the season, and then towards the end, no more.
Yeah, I think a similar thing because there was a point as well. I guess the same sort of thing happened to Boombox at a similar time where
Yeah.
Alarm started playing, and again a similar situation where I don't think you or Boom were ever bad or got worse or stopped improving, but Alarm and Fury are really elite at their roles. Very tough competition.
Yep, of course.
So how do you adjust from doing this to just sort of being on the back burner and having to play like a supporting role to him as the
Yeah,
season
I
goes on?
mean, I don't really mind, to be fair. I'm don't really like to practice, to be fair. Like I like playing Overwatch, right? But practicing like 4 to 6 hours a day with the team, then 2 or 3 more by yourself. This is like a little bit too much, huh? I'm getting like what 23, 24. I'm like, oh shit, hey, hey. So I get benched and I'm like, okay, I mean, not too bad. I'm just gonna go to the facility, see people, do jokes, and hang around. You don't need to hard focus, bite your nail that you're stressed out, and just chill out. So I'm like, okay, sure. But yeah, I'm just hanging out. And I remember this season, we had like a lot of Koreans, KDG, Moby, and Hisu, Sado, Fury, and there was a little mafia inside the team, like the Korean mafia and the English speaker mafia. And yeah, we try to like stick around, and but yeah, that was tough for us European people. I remember that roster. I think only Astro was speaking English, and everybody else was like speaking Korean towards the end. So yeah, tough times.
Was this a problem ever? Because obviously, season one and season two, it's you have a same situation where there's like a Korean portion of the team and a Korean coach as well, or a Korean speaking coach. Did it ever happen in the previous seasons as well, where you'd sort of get like a bit of a divide between the sort of West and East?
No, never. I mean, season one, I think we had like 4 Koreans, which is not enough to be a team, so they have to learn English,
Oh,
and
you were
Carpe
the
English
Mafia
was.
season one then.
Yeah, you have to learn our language, not us. So yeah, you just speak English and deal with it. And season two, no, as well. Everybody was speaking English pretty well. But yeah, season three, the mafia took over, the Korean mafia, too strong.
So I think probably a lot of people have experienced. I'd probably wager that most people who have played on a mixed team have experienced some form of this, where one side gets stronger than the other and maybe wants to only play with the Korean players or vice versa.
Hmm.
How do those sort of things then play out in like the real situation? Like, do you have players who are going and saying, "Oh no, I think we should be playing this Korean guy instead of this," or we might as well, if we play this guy, we can start comming in all Korean or something, and then we'll be better because we can all understand and speak faster.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not too sure, but I think it was just KDG maybe? KDG and Moby, they were like, guys, we are starting to lose. Let's just speak everybody Korean because we struggle to understand English and speak it as easy as Korean, of course. So just everybody go Korean. It's gonna be easier. The gonna be, I mean, better. So you just trust them because I mean we are winning everything so far. So just yeah, let them cook. Uh, but yeah, just going full Korean. YOLO. Hope for the best.
Yeah, because then you get to, I think the main melee, you get to the playoffs, but you lose out to Florida.
Yep.
This was when it was Orisa Sig meta, which was actually probably Florida's best meta, so you maybe got a bit unlucky to draw them so early. But then in the Summer Showdowns, you do better, you get to the finals. This is when it's like Orisa Sig Bat Brig, but you lose to Paris in the finals. This is when it was like Hambin, the Hambin Sparkle, but also Ben Best version of Paris when it was a true mix of cultures. And then second again in the next one. This is maybe where the forever second conversations start coming into play. And at this point, Fury's played all of these as well, I think, at this point. At
Yeah.
least all of the games in the playoffs themselves. So, is there a point in this season where you sort of start changing your approach to then maybe not be less competitive competing for the spot, but think, is there another way I can help a team, or is there something that I can contribute outside of this?
Yeah, I mean it's tough because we have like a really good coaching staff, so I don't want to be like in the middle, be like, huh, you should do this and not this, and then the coaching is gonna be like, wait, who told him to do that? So it's always very messy to try to like be the middleman. So I just let the coaches cook. And yeah, just try to be the funny guy in the office, try to make everybody laugh and have a good time and not hate each other. So yeah, just try to be the goofy man. Do interview as much as possible so like the players can focus on the game and not be too stressful because the English is bad. And yeah, I just take the mascot role kinda.
Is this where when did you start streaming at this point as well? Or did this happen earlier? When does that sort
Uh,
of intersect with?
yeah, I mean I started streaming like very early because I was like I'm not gonna be good at this game forever, so I just need to build my brand and try to like snowball. So yeah, I started streaming season one, I think, a bit before with Gamers Origin, but nobody really watched. And then season one, everybody was like, "Oh my god, Pokemon, that's cool." Uh, but yeah, I still kept streaming even more on season three. I was like bench. I was like, guys, do I really need to come to the office? I'm not playing. Should I just start live?
Already
And they were
hovering
like,
over the button.
yeah, they're like, okay, sure.
So then you guys qualify for playoffs as you would expect based on going 24-2, books yourself a ticket. And then now this is a bit of a weird playoffs. I know Chris bemoans this situation quite a lot because in the first bit where you're qualifying for playoffs, you're playing a lot of Winston, Diva, Moira, Lucio, Reaper, Sombra, that type of comp. But by the
Yeah.
time we actually get to playoffs, everyone's starting to do these hog comps.
Ugh,
So
disgusting.
yeah. So at this point, let me get the details here because there's like a very particular, I guess, switch you'd call it. So there's like the NA playoffs where you guys do quite well. You beat Gladiators, you beat Valiant, and then you lose to Shock, but then beat Washington in the lower bracket to secure your place in the grand finals. And in this, you're playing Monkey, Diva, Reaper, Sombra, Lucio, and Moira in most situations, and obviously having success. The only
Mm.
team you even dropped a map to was Shock, which is probably quite reasonable. And then we go to the actual playoffs, or the grand finals is its official title, which is just four teams. You guys, Shock, Shanghai, and Seoul. So the top two from East and West. And then at this point, this is where the meta changes to become like a Hog, Sigma, Double Sniper, Ana Mercy, or Zen Mercy.
Yeah.
And I remember Chris often talks about there's a decision at a certain point where you thought you could still win with the Winston, Diva, Moira, Lucio for a period, but then that changed between qualifying for the grand finals and getting to grand finals. You changed and started playing the mirror more often.
Yep. I mean, you just try to win with your composition, try to adapt, and if it doesn't work, just go mirror, try to beat them at their own game. But we were so bad at this composition, it's crazy.
Well, it's a bit of a weird situation because in some ways this is really good news for you that the composition's changed because it means you get a chance to come back into the roster and play the Sigma, and Fury plays the Hog. But I guess maybe it doesn't feel so good if it's not going very well when you come back in.
Yeah. I don't think I actually tried to play it in Scrim. I think that was still full Korean. Didn't really. I think Fury was like, I'm not a good hog, so I'm going Sigma. Um, and I was disgusting at hog. I don't want to play this character ever. So I was like, I mean, yeah, I can play hog, but we are not gonna win with that. So Sado played hog, and he wasn't he wasn't bad, but he wasn't good either. That wasn't enough. But
Because
we,
the first semi final you play Shanghai, and this is where Fury plays all of the maps. You get 3
yeah,
0'd by Shanghai.
yeah.
You go to the lower bracket where you play the Seoul Dynasty, and
Ye-
this is
Yeah,
where
but
you come in.
I mean the playoff was a little difficult for us though, because there was like four teams, and that was still during COVID, so we had to go travel to South Korea, and in South Korea there is like 2 weeks where you need to be
Quarantine.
locked up, yeah, in quarantine in the hotel, so we couldn't get out of a room. We had to be 24/7 for 2 weeks in the hotel. So we are starting to like lose our mind. Actually, they were getting food like delivered outside the door. So you just open the door and you close the door. There's like no fresh air, nothing, no sociability, and we had like a shit hotel desk that you put your laptop on and you play. So like the conditions were like so bad for shocking us. Um, so I don't know, yeah, we struggle and we play that shit comp and we were like so bad at it. We were like losing every scrim. I don't think we ever won a single map in a scrim. We are like getting 6-0 every scrim, like 3 times a day, locked in hotel, and we're like, guys, not looking good.
How does the team react to this? Because I know, like, if I think to my time on British Hurricane, everything was really easy when we won all of our games.
Yeah.
And then as soon as it started to go downhill, suddenly a load of, like, problems sort of come out of the cracks and a lot of things get harder. Did a similar thing happen here where, you know, everything's going well, but then as soon as we hit this really rough period where you can't seem to find a win in scrims?
Yeah,
How's
I
the
mean,
atmosphere in the team?
of course, I mean, it's getting worse and worse because you have to travel, you cannot like choose where you go, what to eat, and everything. And like the Korean players are at their home, it's like a little bit easier for them, but it's still like shitty situation. And then you're like, guys, we're losing every scheme. Should we keep going? Should we swap? And then KDG is like trying to cook something, so you cannot really talk to him, and so it's getting a bit more tense. And then yeah, just everybody is like, fuck, so unlucky. Everything went so well. I mean, everybody like still liked each other, but that was a little different. That was just we are losing.
Yeah, it's really hard. There's not many good comparisons for people who don't work in esports or don't work in traditional sports to like what that can do to like an environment or how it can do. Maybe like a company going out of business almost or something where you keep the situation
Yeah.
just keeps getting more and more tense. But for most people, you don't necessarily like lose accounting or lose IT support in the same way, you know? Like it's like if something goes wrong in like a lot of jobs, the next day there's no reason it's going to go wrong again. Whereas
Yeah.
if you lose a block of scrims, there's maybe a good chance you're going to still be losing tomorrow. And if you lose
Yeah,
2 days in a row, or there's maybe a real good chance. And if you start losing 3 or 4 days in a row, then day 5 and day 6 of the week is going to be a really long day.
for sure. For sure. Everything gets worse and worse if you start losing.
So then you lose to Seoul Dynasty, and then that's it.
Yep.
The season ends. I mean, obviously disappointing for everyone, but probably extra disappointing because this maybe felt like the season. You know, a season to get the trophy you missed out on season 1.
Yeah, I mean, I remember we were so bad at this competition, and the last day, we were outside the hotel, so we were at the boot camp, um, and I played with like the fusion team, and everybody was like the university team, to practice before the match, and I remember we won against them because everybody was like so tilted in the team, so KDG was like, well, let's just try to change something. I guess it's now or never. So I played against Seoul, and I played the Sigma, and Fury played Hog, and we did slightly better. But I mean, that wasn't enough because we never practiced the comp, and we struggled, and everything was so chaotic. Um, but yeah, I think we could have been a bit better if I was on Sig and Fury and Hog, but we took too long to adapt. I was yeah, a very, very sad year for us. We did so well and then so bad towards the end. Disappointing.
Yeah, it's one thing that can happen. I guess the same is probably true in like League of Legends and Dota as well, but sometimes the patch just changes and you're good for whole season and then it doesn't happen anymore when you wish it had happened for most. Like maybe look at Atlanta this season, right? Do so well for so long. and then it just happens that the meta shifts away from them at the last moment, and then they find themselves with a really disappointing finish.
Yeah. I mean, it's like Overwatch, because you don't really have that with like normal sport, right? They are not gonna patch the football cage or some shit like that.
Don't change the
Um,
abilities of the players.
yeah, so that's what you sign up for, and you know that there is a risk, so you have to deal with it.
So then, what happens in this off season? So this was obviously a very expensive roster, a lot of money invested in general, just even at the homestands at the start, but we now find ourselves in a COVID-based world where it looks like most of the next season will probably be online as well. Where do you stand then? Are you still wanting to stay with Philadelphia and keep going, or are you potentially looking any opportunity or to explore more opportunities?
So yeah, so I was done with my contract. I've done like the 2 years, and I'm like, my last 2 years were not the greatest. Season 2 was shit. We didn't qualify for playoffs. Season 3 I barely played. Um, Even though I knew my skill was high enough to be able to be like a top player, I mean Fury was just better and Hotbar very good as well, so that was tough. But yeah, so we are like, I mean, Roston gave me a shot again. He was like, okay, let's go again. We're gonna do another season. I know you have it in you, and I was like, yeah, I can do it. Um, but yeah, season 4 we did like season 2. We cut the budget a lot, and we did a smaller team, and try that works.
So yeah, so in this one, Mano comes in as the main tank.
Yep.
Hopper makes a return. Fury goes to Washington. Astro and Alarm stay, as I imagine we were pretty keen to lock those guys down. And I think originally they were actually the only two supports you had as well.
Yeah.
And then Carpe stays, EQO stays, Rascal and Shockwave arrive. So then
Yeah.
this roster probably looks still pretty strong. Are you confident going into this season that you can maybe do similarly to last season? Or like, are you a similar strength, or do you feel this is a weaker team?
I think we have a really good roster, and we even have 9K, which is an amazing value because he was doing very well with Paris last year. He was Element Mystic coach. So we are like, yeah, I mean, we got amazing squad again, different player, but still also good. So hopefully it's gonna go well.
So then, does KDG leave because he wanted to leave, or did the team feel they needed something different?
I think the team felt we wanted something different. We were not like all on the same page about playoff. Like we should have tried something different way sooner because the result was so bad. So maybe try me on Sigma and Fury on Hog, or try another composition. We were not winning any scrim, so yeah, we just tried something different. And 9K was on the market, so Roston took him.
So yeah, 9K comes with a pretty strong CV at this point, I think. Shock into success at Paris, then comes to head coach here. You get to keep Chris and Moby. So again, it still looks like a pretty strong roster overall, especially factoring in how a lot of teams are having to cut back this year as well. But then I was trying to figure out the exact timeline of this year. But this is the year where you guys get like just stuck in visa hell forever, right?
Yeah. Yeah, because at the beginning we were like a small roster. I think that was only Manu and me in the front lane. And we were like practicing so much during the off season, and with like the ping, with like they had to wake up at 3 a.m. to practice. That was like a nightmare. And we were like, yeah, guys, it's okay. We are going to Korea this year, but your visa is coming soon, right? And the visa never came. We couldn't manage to get one. for like the European players. So Astro, Shockwave, me, EQ as well. We were stuck in visa hell for like so long, um, and they couldn't get me a visa because some stuff happened with like the French embassy in Korea or some shit. So they were like, the season is about to start. We need to sign um, an off tank that is there. So they signed Hotbar back.
The return. And I
Yep.
think because they also signed Toby as well, because similarly Astro was the only main support, so they need someone who can come and play his role. And I don't know if Rascal was with you guys at the start of the season or if Rascal was also one of
I
these
think
like
yeah, I think he got signed after maybe.
yeah, one of these just like we need someone who is local and can play.
Yeah.
So the decision to go to the East, no one could have known, but it ends up putting a real big problem, a real substantial problem
Yeah.
for I imagine not just you personally, but the whole team's plans in terms of how this
Yeah, yeah.
season wants to go.
That was unlucky. I mean, Comcast just bought T1, so they wanted to go compete at the T1 tower in Korea, which made sense.
It would have been cool
But
as well, no?
would have been
I
so
don't know.
cool, yeah. But yeah, just visa issue, nothing that you can do about it. Just unlucky.
What's the process then? Like, did T1 hire you lawyers to do the application, and then you just sort of submit them your details, and then you're just
Yeah,
left
yeah. I mean,
waiting for an email to come back? Or
like every season, you have to just send everything. They have a lawyer. He's taking care of everything. It's like a P1 visa, so it's like athlete for like the like every big sport. So it's like a lot of money. But yeah, COVID and just unlucky timing because I think the USA they closed because of Donald Trump's did
or they
something
close
that
Congress
was
or something? Yeah.
yeah that was so unlucky. Um, so yeah, the season doesn't wait for us, so they have to sign somebody else, and I'm there in France, Astro is there in UK, and we are like, that's very unlucky.
And I guess the problem's kind of snowball because not only are you then not with the team, no chance of getting into the starting lineup. Also, they'll be practicing Korean times.
Yeah.
They'll be coming in Korean because at this point they're forced to use an all Korean roster. So even your ability to like watch scrims and join VOD review or watch VOD review after, I imagine becomes really limited in these situations, if at all.
Yeah, no, I wasn't like doing anything. Like I was like, do you guys need me to do something? Like, and they were like, I mean, no, we are sorry for you.
Yeah.
And Roston was like calling me every week, you okay? I'm sorry, we cannot get you a visa. And I'm like, I mean, it's not your fault. It's all good, just sucks. But yeah, no, I wasn't really doing anything. I was trying to like do content and interview and a bunch of stuff, but game-wise, I was playing ranked in EU.
Maybe not the greatest greatest way to keep up with the Overwatch League level.
No, very bad.
So then this is also the season where they start doing bans as well, which makes the actual meta and results pretty wild.
Yep.
Because everyone's just playing something completely different every time, and the Korean version of Phili do not that great. So I don't think any of the Summer Showdown or the Countdown Cup. I think you get the Countdown Cup, but you don't get to any of the ones before that. At what point do you and the gang do you because you guys get out there at some point? Is that right?
I get there the last week during the playoff.
Was it the same for everyone, or did anyone end to get like slightly earlier?
No, I think Shockwave and Astro got their visa maybe mid-season. I don't really remember because we are like playing in European contenders with like Fusion University with like Jikaru and a bunch of guy. Uh, but yeah, the visa just took forever for France, so I was left alone, sad, crying.
So then it goes to playoffs. Is there ever entertainment that you will be playing in any of these games then? Like, they're
No
going to
way.
use the core roster, or is it just Mano and Hopper have been playing all season together?
Yeah, I mean, there is a zero chance. I haven't practiced with the team. They don't know my voice. I have no idea what's being played in the Overwatch League. I'm watching from far away to not be like like you. I mean, I'm a viewer at this point, even though I'm
Yeah.
signed in the Overwatch League team. So no way I'm gonna play. I just travel there, try to cheer them up, and do the best that I can.
Because then it's not the worst result for Philly. You guys win the play-ins, which qualify you for the end of season. And then, if I remember right, this one is... Yeah, mostly Winston Diva dive comps, which probably
Yeah.
really isn't the worst comp for you guys at all. Probably comfortable for Mano, comfortable for Hopper. Obviously, everything's comfortable for Alarm and Astro, really, but
Yeah.
but it doesn't go your way. Obviously, this is where Shanghai really step up and become like the big dog. So, do you have many memories from this, or was it really just...
Not that much. I don't know. I don't really remember anything from this time. Just when I was playing during the off season, that was probably the worst time I've ever had playing Overwatch. It was like so stressful because we had like a very good roster, of course, a very good coaching staff, so we had a lot of pressure on us. 9K was very strict, and we had to do results, and we were not doing good in Scream. So I got benched, they signed Hotbar, and I was like a little relieved actually. I was like, oh shit, actually maybe it's better like that, because I that wasn't it. I nope. Maybe I think if I played this season, maybe I would have burned out and leave. I think.
Yeah, you think it would have been, or had the potential to be that rough if things didn't turn around like results wise?
Yeah, no, that was the worst year in the Overwatch League for me, for sure. And not playing, I think, was the best thing that happened to me.
Really?
Yeah.
So then Philadelphia don't do that well once they get to playoffs. They lose to Gladiators, go to the lower bracket, they lose to San Francisco Shock. And then it just kind of ends a really weird season that I think is probably not what anyone wanted or anyone would have envisioned at the start.
Nope. Yeah, no, that was very weird. We had a really good roster, but visa, just like first year actually, we got visa issue, and there is nothing that you can do, and nobody that you can blame. It's just that happens, and just have to go through it and get, just get up.
Yeah, I think as well, one thing that's quite nice about esports is a lot of the time you can control what happens. You know, like you
Yeah.
might be playing against Shock or Dallas or whatever top team, but if you play well, you can always win. It's always in your control. If you do enough things right, it can do well. But with the visa stuff, it doesn't matter how good you play. The visa office doesn't care. It's just
Yeah.
completely out of your hands, and it's very slow as well. So
Yep.
then, what do you want to happen then at the end of this season? Like, what are you hoping is your next move?
I'm not too sure, because I mean I haven't been playing in the Overwatch League for quite some time now. Because I got benched and then visa hell, and I'm like, shit, do people really still believe in me? So this is like the big year, because my contract is done. I know that they are gonna go full Korean. They're gonna stay in Korea, and they are not gonna try to get visa to European anymore. So we get told that, we get told that it's over. And I'm like, oh shit, do I still want to keep going? Do I want to stream? Do I want to stop and get a real job? So I'm like thinking, and there's like the off season. I still play the game a lot, and my level is still good enough. Yeah, I'm still determined to play a bit more, I think.
So then, was there ever a world where, so Philly were going all Korean,
Yep.
so you're now back. This is probably the first off season you're properly back in the job market then for a long time, where you don't have like Philly just come in and offer you an extension or still have you under
Mm-hmm.
contract. So what was that process like coming in now, not as a rookie or like a new player just hoping to get into the Overwatch League? You've sort of got 4 years experience under your belt. You've always been in it, but you've now got to go back in. Do you feel like you still need to prove yourself, like reprove yourself again at this point?
Yeah, of course, of course. I mean, even though everybody knows me, I don't really know anybody because, like, I'm not going to go talk to some people that I don't know, I guess. So I don't have that many friends. And to get tryouts, sometimes you need some. It's a little difficult. Uh, so yeah, like nobody saw me play for like maybe what 2 years, a year and a half. So of course I need to prove myself. I remember the off season was like very stressful because I didn't really know what to do. Do I need to DM people? Do they know that I'm LFT? How does it go? What salary should I ask for? What's going on? So I was like, oh shit, okay. So I sent a bunch of DM to all the head coach, all the GM, try to get as many tryout and stuff. Um, and yeah, that was a lot tough. But I did a bunch of tryout. But sometimes teams do tryouts and they know that you're not gonna get picked. They don't care about you. They just want you to play against somebody else because they need 12 people in the game. So you're just left hanging, and you're like, oh shit, am I gonna get really a spot? And I mean, if I didn't get a spot in the league, I would have been. It's okay. That was a fun time.
You would have gone to
So
streaming full time.
yeah, I think so.
How how big was your stream at this point then? Because I know now you're obviously doing pretty well, but at
Yeah.
this point in time, did you look at it like, oh, worst case, the streaming is fine. It's big enough. I could just do that full time.
Uh, I've no idea. I don't know. Don't really look at the numbers with stressing me out. But yeah, I guess it was a little big because I was streaming the whole time in my room when I couldn't play for the team. So yeah, I think I could have survived doing streaming just fine.
And then at a certain point, I can't remember exactly when it would have been, like in the off season, but at a certain point, we on London recruit Chris, and then suddenly
Yeah.
you do have a friend in a pretty good position to give you a tryout, maybe for a team,
Yep.
and then
Uh,
you try out with us. How
yeah.
at the point you try out with us, have you tried out for many other teams at this point?
Yeah. Nah, I'm not too sure actually. I think no, only Paris and London wanted me. And Paris
Okay.
were ready to sign me. And I was like, maybe I should try other teams because Paris, I'm not too sure. Sounds sketchy from what I heard. So yeah, I was like, okay, let's give it a try to London. Um, and you guys had a better like roster. I knew Chris. I knew he was going to be a really good head coach. So I was like, okay, let's try. Let's try it.
So you had no reason, because obviously, from our point of view on London, we were pretty worried about rebuilding the roster because we had just gone 1-16,
Yeah.
which isn't super appealing, I think, for a lot of players. But when you saw Chris was there, Nat was like, it'll be fine. You saw the roster, you saw Chris, and you were like, this will be okay.
Yeah, and I think Chris did something really smart. He didn't invite a lot of people in the tryout. He did like a really small group. So you know that if you're invited to the tryout, it's real, that you have an opportunity. So I was like, okay, I know all these players. I know that they are good at the game. So it's between me and I don't know who else there was at the time. So I'm gonna fight for it and prove them that I'm still there and I have a chance.
Trying to think who did. I know we trialed Adam, the Australian guy.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think who else we must have. We probably trialed Finzi, I would guess. He seems
Yeah.
like the sort of guy who would have been available. Maybe we trialed Mulfig again as well. Like retrialed him, I'm not sure. I can't
Probably,
remember
yeah.
now. But obviously, you do well in the trial. Everything works out, and then you get offered. So at that point when we offer you, do you then have a choice essentially? Like Paris have offered you and London have offered you.
Yep, that's right. And I'm like trying to get more money as possible, of course. That's usually how it goes. Because first year I couldn't get money because Fusion was like the only team offering me. So I can't be like, I want more. And they were like, no, fuck you. You get that. And then second and third and fourth year I get re-signed. So that was like the only time I could try to get more money. And I think I got a bit more. And I was like, okay, that's fine enough. I mean, I never wanted to go to Paris anyway, but I just wanted a bit more salary.
Would you have gone to Paris if it was your only offer?
Probably, yeah.
Okay. And this is when this was like the Kaan version of the roster. It was like Kaan, Dan, Onigod?
Bridro, I think.
Maybe Onigod had left, yeah. I'm not sure. I think
Yeah,
Naga was still there, Dredro was still there.
yeah, that was the roster got cut halfway through.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the roster was pretty good, but the rest not so good.
So then you start in London. What are your expectations then? Probably a bit less than maybe season 3 and 4 Philly.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, like everybody is like on minimum salary. We don't have any budget. Even though the org is amazing, right? Jack is doing
Yeah.
what he can to provide us with like food and housing and everything. It's like way less than what Fusion were giving us. But I know the last season from London wasn't the best. So I was like, if we can do a few more wins, that will be nice.
More than one.
Yeah. So let's see. Let's see how it goes and hope it's a nice year.
So you're the only off tank we signed, but this is the season
Yeah.
it transitions to just a single tank.
Yeah.
So you find yourself again competing for the spot with Hadi, but in a really different way this time. You guys don't have the same hero pool at all. You're completely different heroes, but there's obviously a bit of an element of you might need to fill, say, like some of the cough points. You might want to play like 2 Diva, 1 Monkey or something. So at this point, are you preparing to then have to do a little bit of everything? A little bit of Winston,
A little bit of
Reinhardt,
flexibility.
yeah.
Not that much with her. I don't know why. I mean, I should have, but I feel like it's very difficult to be able to play all the tanks at such a high level that you are not getting gapped. So I was like, I need to focus on my own hero pool. If I'm lucky enough, the meta is gonna be on my way, and I'm gonna be like at the same level of everybody on my pick, and I'm gonna be above the main tank who try to flex. And if I'm not lucky, just Hadi can play, and he got this.
Yeah. I remember, was it, because Doom had become a tank for the first time as well. So there was a period where you and Hadi were both playing tank, or playing Doom, and that was maybe the role that was up for competition. Whoever could be the best Doom could have the Doom spot if we ever played it.
Yeah, there was Doom and Junker Queen and maybe Ram. I'm not sure. But yeah, that was we had like some opportunities to fight for the spot. Yeah, that was fun time. But I'm not that flexible of a guy. I don't know. I need to play a lot to be good at something. So it was tough for me to fast learn.
Yeah, anyone who remembers season 5 London will remember we played literally 0 Doom. So it didn't work out for any of our Doom players. So you come in, and you've now sort of transitioned from season 1, where you're the new guy, to you're now probably the oldest guy on the roster, both in terms of literal age, but also number of seasons in the league and experience. So does this then feel different? Do you feel like you're surrounded by kids, or like you now have a different role in the team than maybe you had in previous teams?
Kinda. I mean, I knew the players, Hardy and Sparker and stuff, but I never really spoke to them or anything. So I was like, okay, sure, let's give it a try. And I knew Chris was there, so he's gonna make a great job at making everybody feel loved and stuff like that. So I wasn't really that scared. Um, but yeah, I mean, I was the oldest, but in my head, I don't think I'm that old. So I was like, I'm gonna fit, no worries.
So then you arrive, and it's probably a little bit flash in some of the places Philadelphia put you up in, but we have our own house, we all have our own rooms. It's nice, even if it's not, a mansion with a private chef.
Yeah.
So then preseason starts, and then how do you find then settling into a new team for, I guess, for the first time really since like it's been 4 years on Philadelphia?
Yeah, that was fun. But at the beginning, I don't think we had the mansion yet. I had to stay at the hotel with some of the players, and we had to travel.
Or like to the
And
practice
then
area?
yeah, to the house. And then when we had the house, Chris and me had to share rooms. So at the beginning, that was a little sketchy, but that was funny sketchy. That was like season one sketchy.
Oh,
So
I remember now actually. I'd completely forgotten. I remember, yeah. This was before I'd gone
yeah,
out there, so I
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
dodged all of this situation. So I didn't
Yeah.
have to deal with any of this.
Yeah, because I think the house he bought the house in the same neighborhood, but it took some time for the old people to leave and stuff. So we stayed at the hotel and we practiced somewhere else, and that was a
Yeah.
little difficult at the beginning.
Yeah,
But
for context, I think this is all fine to say. I won't leak the address, but Cloud9 have a few properties in a similar area where they have all their different teams. So we're literally down the road from the League of Legends team and the Valorant team and stuff. But to fit us in, they needed to rent a new place. So
yeah,
there was just a delay getting the people who lived in the place we were renting, them moving out, so we could move in. So then we got to get in. Everyone, I think we were between two houses, maybe three houses total. So we had one
yeah,
to
three.
practice in, and then people maybe slept down the road. And preseason goes pretty well, I think, from what I remember.
That's it. I forgot.
Yeah, my memory is that actually it's going pretty decently. We're starting to find what would eventually, or maybe not even take that long, become like our Rhine identity. But we were doing pretty competitive on all the comps. For what, like, not
Mm,
competitive as in like we were beating the San Francisco Shock and we
yeah,
thought we were going to win the league, but we were able to compete, beat the teams around us, and that
yeah,
was
yeah,
our
for
goal.
sure.
I think going in, just beat the teams around us. Don't worry about beating Shock or any of this.
Yeah, yeah. No, yeah, I don't think we are too bad. We had a nice atmosphere, to be fair. Like that was a little like a frat house, I think.
Yeah,
A bunch of friends going to school and going to work out and eating together and playing games. So that was really fun. Even though we are losing, we are still learning a lot. And like, yeah, I really enjoyed that. Yeah,
yeah. I think even compared to the most recent season, that season 5 with London, it really felt like all of us were really on the same page in terms of our approach and our mentality. In terms of we
mm,
all wanted to try really hard. We were all quite happy to do a lot of like social stuff together, as well as a lot of gym work together. I remember us going on team runs. I remember if a couple of people went for a run or something, other people would join in. There was a real like family vibe to it in terms of everyone actually got on quite well and everyone was quite happy to work for each other.
yeah. I mean, I think at the beginning of the year we were told that, of course, we are not the best player in the game. Everybody, I mean, there is gonna be some new kids Korean better than you. But we have the communication that we can be really good at because everybody speak well English, and we can make something work if we are like all on the same page. So just be nice, be friendly, and play the game, learn, and go for it.
Yeah, and then I guess it's maybe classic London is we start with a bit of drama anyway, and we lose our flex support before the season starts, and we have to get in another flex support as we get in Landon,
Yep.
who I think was in the trials, but obviously lost out to Provide ultimately. So we get in Landon, and at this point, this is when Overwatch 2 is coming out, but it's not out yet. So all of the practice we've been doing is on a lobby code, a custom lobby code that Goomba had made, I think.
Yeah.
Got like Overwatch 1.5 that had some of the changes we knew were coming, but not all of them. So we had just been given access to Overwatch 2, I think, all the league players. But Landon hadn't, obviously, because he wasn't in the league. So Landon has to come in. Everyone else has been playing Overwatch 2 for 2 months. Landon comes in to play Overwatch 2 for the first time, and we have a match in like a few weeks. And that match is against the San Francisco Shock. So we lose that match. I think 3-0. But then I think maybe it's our next game is against Vancouver or something, and then that's the one we win. And then that really, for me, I don't know how it felt for you, but that felt like the start almost. Like, okay, we're here. We can win games, we can do things.
I mean, we are a pretty good team. Not at the highest level, but we could still manage to build people, and that was a start, yeah, that was the beginning.
So then we go, so this is split up into stages as well, but instead of doing stage 1, 2, 3, 4, we're in the era where they do fun names for all the tournaments to make it more confusing. So there's the Kickoff Clash first, and we miss out on this one. We finish 3-3 for this stage. We miss out on map difference. And we're pretty gutted because we kind of didn't expect to qualify for many tournaments, if any, especially not the first one. But because it was so close, we really thought it was on. And then I don't remember, maybe you can tell me better, how much you actually played this early stage, because I think it was mostly a Winston, Lucio, and a meta.
Yeah, no, I don't think I've played like that much the whole season, but probably not. Maybe only the Sigma map. I think that's about it, no?
Yeah, we played the Sigma maps. I guess what a lot of people didn't see is through various points in the season, we really did try to make other comps work. That did involve you. But we were hopeless at them. And I think it was never your fault. But there was just something about, like, remember we played Zarya? We tried Zarya comps because that was meta for a bit. Maybe it was when Dallas were doing, like, Zarya, Bap, Lucio. And we were like, oh, Landon's so good at Bap. Admiral was so good at Lucio. Poko was so good at Zarya. Perfect for us. But for whatever reason, not perfect for us.
Nope, that wasn't working.
No. And then the SIG maps as well. Circuit Royale was... I mean,
that was tough.
Yeah, I didn't think it was that bad. Maybe I'm... But I remember a lot of people not enjoying that map whenever it came up.
Yeah, no. I mean, we were not practicing like this hero at all. We were like playing Rain most of the time, so it's like a little difficult. And so we are trying to mirror some Sigma like composition teams, and yeah, I think they were just better than us, more prepared. We were like, oh shit, we have Circuit Royale this week, just hope for the best, guys,
Focus the other maps,
yeah, focus on the rest.
So then we redeem ourselves a little bit in mid-season madness, and we get to Hawaii, which is pretty cool because I don't think I really ever envisioned myself going to Hawaii, let alone for Overwatch. So pretty happy with this destination. It wasn't the best venue, but I think it was a really good destination. you know?
Sure.
So we go to Hawaii. Blizzard put us in pretty nice hotels. We go for the tournament, and this is like Zen Anna mostly, and again Winston. So the only map you're planning to play is Circuit Royale, if it gets to that. We had very little intention of picking Circuit Royale ourselves, so it was only if someone else picked it. So I think, if I remember right, we were in like the dugout, and I think, was it Shock was our first game? And I think you and me and maybe Nuki were joking about the idea of, oh, they'll probably pick Circuit or something, and you were like, no, they won't pick Circuit. And then Shock was it Shock or maybe it was Atlanta? It was Atlanta. Atlanta picked Circuit Royale. And I said it, and I remember you thought I was joking. I was like, no, it's time to go. You're going in.
No way.
Yeah, so how do you... Because I think in some ways it's an easier mindset for a player to have when they just play every map, every game, they're just in. But for long parts of this season, you're in a situation where you play like 1, 2, maybe 3 maps or something at most. So did you find that harder to manage to sort of just be ready? You've got to be like not doing anything for like an hour and then you come in for 1 map?
Yeah, I mean it's tough because you don't get practice and stuff, but it's gonna be the same for the opponent, right? I don't think who was the off tank for Atlanta?
It would have been Hawk, wouldn't it? So he would have played Doom for him as well a lot.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I mean, I just come and try to do my best, and if it's good, it's good. If it's bad, it's bad. It is what it is.
I think one thing, because I think Shax was probably in a similar situation too, a lot, where he would only come in really for the Tracer maps. So it would mean he wouldn't, quite often he wouldn't start the series, but he'd maybe come in for like map 3 and 4. But I always thought you and Shax both did a good job of just being able to just turn up and play. And it not being like I didn't get to start or I didn't get to warm up or something. Like you both did that quite well, which I think is maybe, I don't know if that maybe just comes because you're both quite experienced at this point compared to the rest of the roster. And obviously you probably have more stage experience than any of the players. Like, it's the same for anyone who played in those first 2 seasons, right? They'll just have way more stage experience and...
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the venue wasn't that scary. We were just facing each other. Like, the computer was, like...
like, face to face.
Yeah, I was like, I mean, sure, okay, why not?
There was no crowd or anything. It was just, so...
Yeah, just 10 computers. And I was like, okay, let's do it. Just like at home. Like in practice, guys. No worries. We just play Sigma. You guys pick 3, 2, 1. And if you guys kill, we win. If we don't, next map, huh?
So we lost Circuit Royale.
Yep.
And then we go to the next map, but we beat Atlanta. And at this point, we feel probably, I think, pretty on top of the moon, if I remember right now. Like, we beat Atlanta. I think Atlanta, for whatever reason, had become like kind of rivals with us. We were like... But we beat them, so we're really happy about that. And then we play Florida Mayhem. And
Shit.
Yeah. So you don't play this series, but we are dominating this series. We are 2-0 up. Nothing can possibly go wrong. Until we get... Was it Gibraltar we got full held on? We get full held on Gibraltar. So then we lose Gibraltar. And then everything unravels and we get reverse swept. And then this becomes obviously a very sad time for the team, for everyone. Did you find yourself... Does it feel different for you when the team loses when you're playing versus when you don't play any maps?
No. No. I don't really get sad of losing, to be fair. I'm used to it.
The upside of playing 40 games in a year is you get a decent amount of losses in there too.
No, I don't know. I mean, just hey guys, we are in Hawaii. We lost. Let's go to the beach. No, like what's so bad to cry about it?
Yeah, well, I think it was useful having like people who were like, I don't know what the word would be, more grounded almost, because obviously a lot of the guys took that loss really hard.
Yeah,
this was probably the biggest match any of these guys had played, really. At this stage, and especially the way in which we lost it probably made it worse. But as you said, we were in Hawaii, so there's a lot of bad things about getting reverse swept by the Florida Mayhem in Hawaii. but one of the good things about getting reverse swept in Hawaii is it means you get knocked out of a tournament with about half a week left in Hawaii.
Yep.
So we then go. We have like drinks that night. We have, I don't know what you'd call it, like a stress release. Like everyone lets their hair down. We have some drinks, and then we just get to enjoy Hawaii for a week.
Yeah,
Reset,
that was very fun.
hit the beach. We went to a waterfall. So then at this point, I don't know, there was maybe part of me at this point in the season that maybe thought like that was it. You know, like that was as high as we were gonna get, and then we wouldn't be able to match this. And then we go to stage 3, or the Summer Showdown, and it becomes Junker Queen meta, which is bad news for you, but good news for us. Because we end up being quite good at this as well. So then all of a sudden, we're in this weird situation where we start winning a load of games. I say weird because I don't think any of us really, even after Hawaii and we qualified, I don't think any of us really expected to just keep winning. Not to the degree we did. I think, we beat Florida and then we beat Toronto in like the first week after Hawaii. So all of a sudden, we're back on top. We just can't help but win. I think Chris often talks about it that season 5, whenever anything went wrong, we would just win our game next week no matter what happened. I think I even remember, was it one of the New York games where we played Route 66? You played, it was like Sigma Zen Brig for a little bit, I think maybe before it was Junker Queen or before playoffs patch. And it was impossible we won that game. But we just won. It just worked out, you know? There was something about us in that season is things just worked out for us.
Yeah, there was just a bunch of dogfights and we were just better at that.
Well, I guess in that way we're like Philadelphia season 3. Things just win. It will be okay.
That's it.
So then we do quite well. We go to Toronto. This was the one, I think, where we beat Toronto on Toronto to go to Toronto.
Yep.
We do sort of well there. We beat Atlanta again. Oh no, sorry. We beat Toronto to start with. And then we lose to Dallas, which is reasonable to lose to Dallas and Junker Queen meta.
Yeah.
And then we meet Florida Mayhem again.
Oh no, not again.
So it wouldn't happen twice.
Surely not.
So we go 2-0 up in the series. We get reverse swept again. And at this point, for a lot of the season, we thought Atlanta were our big rivals. You know, we had like quite always typing to them, always chatting to them. But it then emerges that really our true rivals are Florida Mayhem. Because we just keep getting reverse swept by them in every major tournament. So this one, I feel like this was a painful loss, but it wasn't as bad as the first one. I guess maybe because you get used to getting reverse swept after a while. Starts to build character.
Another one.
So then we hit stage 4, and you find yourself again in an unfortunate situation where it becomes this Winston, Reaper, Sojourn, Kiri, Lucio, because Kiri's released. It becomes this meta, and this is again a very brawl meta and also a monkey meta. So then at this point, how do you feel? Because you probably we're also aware that this patch is going to stay for playoffs as well. So you then find yourself in a situation where you're probably not going to be playing again for most of the season.
Yeah, a lot of windstorm, a lot of rain. I mean, I'm not too sad about it, to be fair. I don't want to be the guy who is like crying because he doesn't have playtime or anything. I experience people like that and it's so annoying. And I don't know, I just try to be helpful the best that I can. Try to bring the vibe up and I don't know, just cheer everybody up and hopefully it's gonna go well.
Yeah, I think even though you didn't play as much as you probably would have wanted that season, I think you added a lot to the team. Because I think a lot of the guys came in pretty new to Overwatch League, or like Haddy and Sparker had a season, but it was like they played from their rooms. It was their first time like properly in a team house. I think it probably felt kind of like their first real season. But as such, I think they were also like quite emotional as well. Not in a bad way, but just whenever you experience something for your first time, it's going to mean a little bit more or hurt a little bit more. I think you did a good job at being like the older brother and making everyone feel welcome and comfortable. I think particularly, you know, when we signed Kaan mid-season.
Yeah.
And Kaan was an insanely talented player. Like, I think he probably almost doesn't get enough respect for how good he actually was on like Ana and Zen. But he was a bit of a bad personality fit to the team. He wasn't the best with people. He was quite... He stayed to himself.
Yeah, he was such a degen.
Yeah, he wasn't really... Especially because our vibe that season was all like mental health warriors. We were doing exercise, team walks, all this stuff. I remember, there was a time Gladiators, some of the Gladiators guys came round. Yeah. And we were talking about, there was a map where you were playing in the scrim and Haddy was benched, and Haddy was reading like a Dave Goggins book or something during the maps he wasn't playing, and it was the Gladiators staff and players couldn't fathom that that's what people would do. That's what any player would do on their off maps.
Yeah, I mean the vibe was so funny. We spent so much night like watching UFC, drinking beers together in the sofa. But yeah, like Kaan wasn't like that. He just wanted to stay in his own room, play the game, and does not really talk to everybody. So yeah, I try to like make him as comfortable as possible, like around everybody. Try to be goofy. Try to joke around to make him like integrate the team, because it's tough to join a team and you know nobody.
Mid-season as well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I try to just be funny and maybe it's gonna get better.
Yeah, I mean, obviously a lot of things didn't work out with Kaan, but I think you did make a big difference. Like, I think especially like when we were at playoffs, he maybe came out of his shell a little bit more. I guess because he's sort of, when you're at playoffs, you're forced to spend all your time together anyway. You can't leave.
Yep.
So we then make it to playoffs. It's a Winston meta. We're in Anaheim for this one. So we do pretty decently. We're able to get to... There was like 2 stages to it where some of the games you'd play in like a private stage. So it was quite a nice stage, but it was no crowd. And then eventually you'd get to the crowd games. And we just about got to the crowd games. And then lost.
Oh no.
Yeah. So we did quite well. I think we beat We beat Philadelphia Fusion. I don't think you played that match in the end.
No, I didn't play any single playoff game.
Full mirror, we beat Philadelphia Fusion, so quite a nice game, I think. I know Chris was pretty excited to play Philadelphia and get one over. Then we go up in the bracket, we beat Gladiators, and this is probably like the highlight of our season, I think, in terms of finally beat one of the big boys. Then we play Houston in the next round. And I was actually really sure we'd win it. Like, not sure like, oh, we've got this easy, but like, this is really winnable. This is a pretty nice draw, you know? We didn't have to play Dallas or anything. I thought we could really win it. But we got 3-0'd. We really didn't win it. It was very much not how I envisioned it going. Oh, wait, hold on. I didn't check this actually at the time, but we played Chicken Royale in this series.
Did I play? No, I didn't play that.
No. We just played... I guess we would have just played the same meta mirror everywhere.
Yeah.
But we lose 3-0 to Houston, and then we get to play Spark on the big stage. So, is this... At these moments here, like, when there's a crowd, there's the arena, is this where it maybe, like, hurts a bit more? that you're having to watch everyone else do it rather than do it yourself?
Yeah, a bit more. When you're like practicing and stuff, I'm like, you guys can play, but in front of crowd and stuff, I'm like, I wish maybe a map or something could have been cool, but I mean, the meta wasn't there, and that's it.
Yeah, it's a hard season because I think, I don't know, we were just so bad every time at those comps. And I really don't think it was you, but I really think we always struggled. It was never like, as much as they were good heroes for you, I don't think they were
Yeah,
often good heroes for everyone else.
yeah, but I
Um,
don't think I was good enough like to lift the team up, and yeah, that wasn't worth it for us to invest more time to try to practice those comp. We just play the big five and make it work.
yeah, I guess also like especially the last part of this year, like Junker Queen meta into playoff meta with like the Winston Reaper Sojourn were actually quite similar brawly metas anyway, and it was also
Yeah.
just like that comp gets played on every map no matter what. So then that season ends, and then you tell you probably already made a decision, but you tell us after the finals that you're planning to retire. Had you made this decision long before? Like at
Yeah,
what point did you sort
kinda.
of realize this was maybe your last season?
I mean, I was thinking about it like the season before joining London because I was like, I didn't enjoy like playing in the off season, and I really enjoyed not play. So maybe I should just stop. And then London, well, opportunity was like, oh shit, maybe one more. And
One last
then
ride.
yeah, and then I wasn't playing that much, and I was like, shit, maybe I don't want to play actually. I'm having more fun just hanging around, streaming, and seeing people than competing. So I was like, yeah, that's it. I don't think I'm gonna go for another one.
Yeah, so then you say you're retiring, not going to play again, you start focusing on streaming.
Yep.
And at this point, you then also move into a position where you become self employed essentially, you become your own boss.
Hmm.
What was that transition? Because this is also not just your transition into self employed, but kind of a little bit more into the real world where you've got to. You don't just have someone providing accommodation and food, you've got to figure out where am I living, how am I paying for it, all of
Yeah,
this.
yeah. I mean, hasn't really changed because I was streaming the whole time in my teams. But yeah, nobody's gonna take care of your shit. Like, no, you don't have a manager to do all the job for you. But I mean, I managed to get enough money to buy my own place in France, which is very nice. And yeah, I'm not spending a lot of money because I'm just staying in my room and playing games. So I just need to pay electricity bills and eat. So that's about it. So I know even though the stream maybe is not gonna work as much, I still should be able to survive. So like even if the stream wasn't working, that was fine for me.
What would you have ended up doing, do you think, if none of this happened?
If I wasn't a
Not
pro
an
player,
Overwatch player, yeah.
I was looking to become a fireman
A fireman.
because yeah, I wanted to like study, try to get a degree to become like higher graded in the fireman thingy. But I need to do like surgery for my eyes because you cannot wear glasses
Oh, okay.
obviously below the mask. So yeah, I was looking into it and getting in shape for the admission.
Do you ever think you'd go back to it now?
Maybe, but I think I got some pretty fucked up knee from sitting in front of the desk for that long, so maybe I need to get a knee surgery. But yeah, maybe.
I don't know if they have it in the UK. They have what you call volunteer firefighters,
Yeah,
which means you are just basically on call to be extra support for the like full time firefighters. Do they have a similar thing in France?
yeah, they do, they do. Maybe I'm gonna. I don't know. I mean, it's working for me right now, the streaming, but if it's not anymore, that's I think my next step.
Because then you move into this sort of stream world,
Yeah.
and then T1 end up Philadelphia come back for you, or I guess for Seoul Infernal at this point, because they need a sixth player to fill out their
Yeah.
roster. So how does this? Because Roston is still, and to this day, is still the general manager, the same guy who's been general manager the whole time. So does he just reach out to you and sort of say,
I'm not too sure. I was speaking with a lot of teams to become their content creator because I didn't want it to play and I was like streaming and I'm like, okay, maybe I can do content for the teams. I know the game, I can talk about it, I can do watch party and stuff. So I was looking at Houston, I was looking at a bunch of teams like that. And then I talked with Roston if he had any contact, and he was like, actually, we're only 5 players, so we need a sixth one. We were thinking about signing a coach, but you can be, we can sign you as a player and be the content creator guy. And I was like, wait, you sure? What if somebody get injured or something? I can't play. Yeah. It was like, it's okay, we're gonna sign somebody in like a month contract. And I was like, oh, well, okay, I guess. But yeah, he was like so nice about it, and I was like, yeah, but I mean, we are so sorry for what happened with your visa and stuff. So we wanted to give you back, and like Philly people love you, so you're part of the family, and yeah, so they brought me back this year.
yeah, I think it speaks really highly. Like, I think if you ever speak to anyone who's worked with Philadelphia or even anyone who's met Roston, only nice things ever said about that man and the work he does to look after the players and everyone who works for him.
Yep, legend.
So you find yourself inexplicably on a team again, technically, in season 6. Not even retirement. So then you're mainly, it's kind of just like a show position. You're just doing the content and the co-streams for them and a lot of stuff. And I guess you work quite well because it's an all Korean team, right? So you're sort of like the Western face of the team still.
Yeah, kinda. I mean, I try to do like something, and they are not asking much for me. They're like, yeah, we just be you. Maybe we're gonna do some show, maybe we're gonna do some. But yeah, I haven't done that much for the team, to be fair. They've been like so nice to me, and they're yeah, nothing but thanks to the team. I don't know.
So then they invite you out as well.
Yep, they invite me out to see the players, see the T1 tower, because I mean I've been once for like the playoff in season 4. So yeah, they're like, do you wanna come for like 10 days? There's like the last game of the season. Maybe you can have a chance to play. Roston is like, and I'm like, no way I'm gonna play. Don't make me play. I haven't practiced. I'm not good enough, and I don't speak Korean, so don't make me wanna play.
You didn't want to
And then
play
he's like,
then?
no, I mean that was suicidal.
You don't think it would be fun though, like one?
No, that will be fun for sure, but there's no way I win.
So
And
was it going to happen at one point then? Were the coaches like on board with it?
no, never. Roston was just joking every week with them. I was like, maybe we should play Poko there. It's like Chicken Royale. Should we try, guys? And never, because we didn't practice nothing. So no, that was never a hope of playing. Just
Especially
a bunch
not
of
if it's another Chicken Royale.
yeah, no.
if there's one map to come back for, maybe a different map. So then, I guess it's a little bit weird because obviously this new Soul Inferno was completely different players as well, right? And different staff. So it's none of the old boys are there still, but
Yeah.
Roston's still there. I guess it's Tucker still there as well.
Yeah.
So you see a lot of the old guys still. You have a nice trip to Korea compared to maybe some of your previous times going to Korea.
Yep. Yeah, no, I spent like my time just watching them play, and they were actually such an amazing team. Like inside the game, they were so good. Like I've never seen that much green in the in the like in the history. They were winning everything, and I know the Asian region was a bit weaker, but like I think they were doing amazing. And everybody was so nice, so nice. Like everybody smiling, and reminded me of London actually. Like
Really?
in the way the vibe, and everybody hang out together. That was very nice week.
Because then they actually do quite well within their region as well. They qualify as top seed.
Yep.
At which point Roston decides to aggressively sabotage the seeding in the groups for the rest of playoffs by by putting us in the other group and maybe sealing our fate a little bit as well, as we had to keep playing Boston. But
Yeah, maybe.
they end up doing not that well. I guess maybe that's not... Everyone sort of expected a lot of the Western teams to be quite dominant and really hard to beat, and that's kind of the way it went for them as well.
Mm-hmm.
So then the season ends, which brings us up to about now.
Yep.
So I imagine, if I had to guess, I'd say your plan is keep the stream going. You've got the World Cup on the horizon.
Mm-hmm.
How are you excited to play again now? Because you've...
Not really. I mean, I hate doing practice. We are doing so much practice with team friends,
You've got
and
a
we are
huge
not good.
staff, you've been playing so much.
Yeah, no, I hate it. I just wanna go to LA,
You just wanna
play.
hang out.
Yeah, go to LA, play on the stage. Okay, sure. We have a tough match. USA, KSA, and Japan. So it's gonna be so hard to get out of group, but we are doing a lot of work, and I'm like, oof, shit. Why did I sign up for this again?
You'll feel differently when it's time to walk out on stage.
I mean, if we go on stage,
I don't actually know what the setup is in terms of...
only the top two get out and do LAN event.
Oh, really?
Yeah, top two of group. So
Okay. It's possible. It's
maybe.
possible. So, what's France's... You guys are practicing online now. Are you guys doing a boot camp before you go, or...?
Yeah, we're gonna do a bootcamp in Paris on the 21, so 5 days before flying.
Yeah.
And then yeah, we go straight away.
Okay. I'll see you there.
Ooh, exciting.
So what's the plan for you post-season? You're back on post-World Cup, I guess. Obviously, the World Cup will probably take up a lot of your time this next month. But then are you just back to full-time streaming and see what happens?
Yeah, I don't have any plans.
Would you ever come back?
No.
No matter...
No,
not a single
no.
offer that could tempt you out of it. Not if Roston was like...
Let's
Season
do
3
it
gang
again.
is... They're coming back. Everyone's in. You're the last person just to say whether you're in or not.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I really enjoy all these years, but I wouldn't do it again. It's too stressful. I'm not good at the game anymore. It's just time to move on. And I really enjoy streaming, so that's good.
And the stream's doing well. One question I always had about your streaming, and I don't know if you ever did it differently before. You stream all in French.
Yeah.
I know because I watch quite a lot. I don't understand that much, but I watch I watch quite a lot. Was that like a particular choice? Or is it just you feel more comfortable always speaking French? Because there's obviously part of me that maybe looks at it and thinks like, was it not a bigger audience if you speak English?
Yeah, of course. I mean, the French crowd at the beginning was like way bigger. We had some big streamer and stuff. But now reflecting on it, maybe that would have been a smarter choice for me to go English. But I feel like I cannot really express myself as fluently in English as I am in French. So, I mean, I think the French community is still out there, and I'm happy with my stream for now.
Yeah, no, it goes well. I think my memories of tuning in, you were doing one of those, like in queue, you were doing like the draw games. You know, you draw it and then chat would
Yeah.
guess what it was. And then I'd guess what it was, but I'd get it wrong because the answer was in French every time. So I'd be like, it's a mouse. It's obviously a mouse. 100% this is a mouse. But then I don't know what the French word is for mouse, but I wrote mouse and got it wrong.
That wasn't it.
I didn't learn any French.
Mm-mm-mm.
So we've reached the end. We've covered 6 whole years of your life. You are 27 now.
Right.
So with the magical power of hindsight and reflecting on everything that's happened, is there anything you feel like you massively regret or missed out on that you would change now if you could?
Nothing. I'm so happy the way my esport career went. Like, and I think I got really lucky because, like, so many teams could have dropped me because of the visa, because of I wasn't playing good or I wasn't playing. So no, I have no regrets. I mean, just a little unlucky from time to time, meta-wise, visa-wise, but I think I'm very happy with how everything went and the people that I met, the place that I went to, and yeah, so many good memories.
And how do you feel now? Let's work on maybe the likely hypothetical that this was the last season of Overwatch League. Now it's over. How do you feel about it ending?
Um, yeah, I mean that was a good run. I wish some decision were not the way they went. But I mean that was very ambitious from the Overwatch League to try to do homestand and all of this. Didn't really work out the way it was supposed to be, but I think that was good, and I hope there is like more of it because I really enjoy watching competitive on Overwatch. To be fair.
Yeah, I think because you kind of now exist in this weird situation where the experience you had can never be had again.
Yeah.
Not just obviously your specific one, but like if you're a young player hoping to be a footballer, you can watch them do it, and then you can do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas there's no way now, or most likely no way now, for people to get into Overwatch League, and it's very unlikely anything like Season 1 happens again.
Very, very
12
unlikely.
teams in LA, and yes, 2 staged games every week. So I think you've sort of seen and experienced everything, like good and bad, that comes with the Overwatch League.
Yeah.
So I think that's everything.
Yep.
Unless there's
Thank you,
anything I've
Alex,
missed.
No, I think that was perfect.
Anything
You reminded me of so many memories that I completely forgot and I scrape out of my memory. But yeah, that was a good time.
It was quite nice going back through, and when I'm looking through the old matches and stuff, and I'm like, especially once it got to the ones where I was in Overwatch League, like especially the Season 5 and 6 ones, I was like, oh yeah, I remember that.
Remember that?
Oh,
Yeah,
that's why we did that. Oh, why did we do this?
of course.
So no, thank you so much for being my
Yep,
first guest and
of
letting
course.
me ask you a billion questions about your life and your existence. But yeah, no, thank you so much.
Yep, thank you, X, for doing all of this, and I hope you're gonna do with more players after.
Yeah, I've spoken to Hadi already.
Okay.
Continuing the trend of just messaging people who I'm already friends with. So maybe we'll do Hadi, then Chris, then I'll just work my way through the team.
Yeah, you got this. You got this, I
Work my
believe.
way- Every time I need a new guest, I'll just look at who've I DM'd in the last 6 months. They'll probably do one.
Yep, I believe you.
But no,
But yeah, thank you for the hard work and thank you for inviting me.
no, thank you for coming. It's been a pleasure.
Mwah.